Half the season down, half the season to go for the 2026 NORA Retro Cup Series, and the 2000 vibes are turning the corner as the chase draws near, meaning tonight could be make it or break it time for a run into the top 10 in points. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Daytona Beach, Florida. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and alongside this evening is Silas Nerby, and boy, it is a pleasure to bring you coverage tonight of the NORA Daytona Beach 240. Today's coverage is brought to you by Harpoon Design, by NORA, and by Whiplash Creative. It's an exciting time to be here. Obviously, it's July, right? The beginning of July, we just had America 250 and you know, celebrating 250 years of the United States of America. It feels like it's the right time to be at Daytona. I will say, typically, this race would go under the lights. However, if you are familiar with iRacing, specifically the legacy scan here of Daytona, you will know that we actually don't have working lights here. And the worst part is technically we have working lights, Silas, but the lights on the light poles, they technically turn on. They don't actually cast any light onto the racetrack. It's part of the old lighting model that is still in use on this older scan of this racetrack. It is going to make for an interesting visual later on in the evening because we are racing right up to sunset. But it is very unfortunate because we need bumpy Daytona under the lights.
And it's going to be really funny to see too, because right, these lights, they should be on, right? That you look at them, you're like, they should be on, but they're just not doing anything. I was looking at it earlier. It is a really funny sight to see, honestly.
The worst one was when we got the new version of Echo Park Speedway, and for the longest time, the lights there just didn't work. The light poles were there, brand new scan, brand new racetrack that iRacing helped build. And for a little while, they just didn't work. That was later fixed, and you can now run at night there. But a little gripe, to say the least. And I will say as well, looking at this racetrack, you get this vibe, this idea of what this racetrack looks like. And this is actually the same track map graphic we use for the new version of Daytona. In fact, you see the NASCAR chicane out of turn number 4. However, from above, it's practically the same racetrack, especially the oval. It's the same thing. The big difference, Silas, is when you get down trackside, get down alongside the racetrack, you can see a little bit of it here in the B-roll on screen, the bumps. This is a completely different track surface from what we have now in 2026, and even in 2026, the current asphalt is aging rapidly at Daytona. The harsh Florida summers really do a number on it, but the racetrack here in this scan, this is from about 2007, this scan, it's bumpy. It's got all of the bumps that were raced on through the late 80s, the 90s, the 2000s that made this racetrack really string cars out, and we're going to see that this evening. These guys are not going to be packed up quite like at Talladega. They're going to be run out into lines of single file racing. I'm trying to see if the B-roll is going to get to a good shot of the bumps. I don't know that we have any, so I want to get into the track here on iRacing, and I want to show some of this, some of what I'm talking about, because it is a big difference from what you see at modern Daytona. You can see it even here. You can tell it's older. That yellow line on the inside, it is not quite perfect like it is on the new version of Daytona. I mean, the World Center of Racing, it is one of the most perfectly upkept facilities anywhere in the world, let alone in the United States, let alone in oval racing. And to see this kind of unkempt kind of track, bumpy, the line is a little all over the place, it's kind of a culture shock to go from current Daytona back to this version, as to see guys on track for practice. But you get that idea of just how bumpy this place is, and if we go on board, say, with Kevin Baumler, let's ride on board, you'll see here as we go through some of the pre-race show just how bumpy this place is. But Silas, I do want to get to point standings and talk about everything going on with the chase. And we can do so here even while riding on board with Kevin. Here's a look at the point standings coming into tonight. You see, we have had our very first points lead change of the entire season, of the entire year. Dalton Tucker now on top by 32 markers over Hunter Sr. Josh Conover stays in third with Chase Durheim fourth and Brian Jones fifth. Kevin Baumler, that's where we're kind of starting to look. That's the first name that isn't in the green, isn't considered in by one race or more. worth of points. I will say Ryan Housen, Vincent Arthur, they put a bunch of points to each of their totals last week at Montreal. So really the battle is just Kyle Tubb, Ronnie Norman, Jacob Gladulich, Brady Motes, and Donald Kite, just barely. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but this is the picture coming into race 19 of 36 here, and we're only going to race 26. These guys only have 8 races to go before we lock down a top 10 for the chase.
Yeah, and the most important part is every single race, you're not gaining substantial points, right? It's going to come a lot quicker than half of these guys are going to expect, right? They're going to be sitting with like 2 races to go, and their time's just going to fly by. Every single race is going to matter, even if you don't think it is. And it's just going to be who can stack the race, who can stack the momentum as we go into the chase.
We do have one of our largest fields of the season here this evening. We are up over 30 cars, it looks like, and I'd expect to grab another half dozen or so maybe before the race starts, at least another few before the race goes green here this evening. So that's a look at point standings coming into the evening, and I mean, we do have a lot to talk about, including a couple of driver interviews. Let's get into that for the evening, and we'll start off with the driver who just lost the points lead last week at Montreal. That's going to be Hunter Sr. So once we can track down the driver of the 4 in Discord, we'll bring him in and talk to him. I've got to make sure he's actually, yes, he's down with all the other spiders, as they call them. So we'll bring in driver number 4, who I can only imagine is probably not the happiest about what we're going to talk to him about. But Hunter, I mean, first up, we kind of have to ask the difficult question first. The points lead. It's the first time we've seen a points lead change all season long, and it was you losing it at Canada last week to Dalton Tucker. I can't imagine that sits well with you, but is there a plan to get back ahead here in these next couple of races?
If this race, if tonight goes like it did those first 2 restrictor plate races, we should be just okay. I mean, with how we performed those last couple of weeks, I don't think we deserve that points lead anyways. Outside of Chicagoland being a 9th, it was definitely a pretty bad couple of weeks. But I mean, if it was anybody, it was going to be Dalton to take that lead. So I mean, I'm not surprised. But if we could have tonight go like the first 2 restrictor plates, we should be just fine.
Yeah, and you are the defending Daytona winner. How do you think that's going to help for your momentum this race?
I don't know if it can. It's one of those things that it's a 50-50 if we're going to even be able to finish the race or end up in a wreck. And those 2 first times, you get put in good enough scenarios, or you put yourself in good enough scenarios that you can find yourself at a win. But you just got to go in tonight and hopefully not find yourself in a wreck, pretty much.
Hopefully this isn't too pessimistic of me to say, Hunter, but I would say each lap is a 50-50. Each corner is a 50-50, let alone the race itself. Certainly every lap there's a chance to be in a crash. But looking at your stats, and if you've watched any of these pre-race shows so far, you'll know I like to ask some difficult questions, and you might not like me when you leave the interview. Hopefully you're still going to want to do another one down the line. But only 25 laps led. That's across 30 starts. That's across 3 wins, all of which have come this season, only 25 laps led. And I think there's something to be said for simply being towards the front. I think you still have been there. Your average finish is great. It's in the top 10. But Hunter, how do we put the 4 car ahead of these couple of guys that you were just kind of trailing right behind right now? It seems like on an average week, you're a lock for the top 10, as your average finish states. But there's still a few guys that are ahead of you. And for this championship and, seasons down the line in the future, you certainly got to get ahead of those guys.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, the laps led thing is one of those where, it don't matter if you lead 100 and, 80 of 100, 180, as long as you're leading that last one, it doesn't really play any factor unless, besides the little bonus points. And, like we did pretty good up until last week where, only those 25 laps led, we were still holding the points lead. So it's, the only thing I can do is, try to rebuild the momentum that we had where, we won at Daytona and then we won at Vegas and, kept a good couple of top 5s and just, kept pushing forward. But the only thing I can really do right now is just worry about tonight and focus on that. And then, we're pretty much locked into the chase. Everything at this moment really doesn't matter until we get to that chase. So pretty much all I got to do is worry about tonight.
Silas, I think that was a great comeback from him. I'm pressing hard about these laps led. It's, what? doesn't matter until it's the last lap. Hunter, good to talk to you. Congratulations on leading the points this far, until last week, of course. Hopefully you're back on top soon, and hopefully we're talking to you a lot more.
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, I'd like to give a big thanks to you for pulling
Absolutely.
up here. And a big shout out to Juicy Spider and everybody we're associated with. I hope to be talking to you tonight. Don't know if it's a curse or not to be coming in here as the defending winner of these restrictor plates, but hopefully I'm able to talk to you guys at the end of the night.
And that's right, he's not just the most recent Daytona winner, but also the most recent restrictor plate winner after winning Talladega in the spring. Hunter, best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Get him back down to his team channel in just a moment, but I think that's a great kind of lead-in for the evening, talking with the driver who's led these standings for so long, now second place, an unfamiliar position for him, given how the rest of the season has gone to this point. But let's go ahead, I want to just go straight into our next driver interview really quick. We're a little close on time, and next up is actually somebody who is in a very different spot. It's the driver of the number 81. Not only is he in a different spot in the standings, he's also third on the time charts currently. We can go ahead and bring in driver number 81. There's Kevin Baumler. And I already know exactly where I want to start with Kevin Baumler. Kevin, we come in tonight, and you have got 44 starts to your name here in this series, 45 tonight. Through all of those races, only 6 top 5s, 21 top 10s, over 300 laps led. That's great, but there is a big empty gap on this stat sheet. 0 wins. This feels like a good place to put a DEI car in victory lane. Can you do it tonight?
Man, I hope so. Feeling really good. Always enjoy the super speedway racing, but last couple haven't gone my way, especially the road courses, so we need to try to get some momentum going here again. Hopefully this is a good race to start off at.
Yeah, and just what do you think, who do you have as your main rivals for this race?
I think everybody's main rival tonight is probably the 4. I think he's swept both the super speedways, so Hunter's apparently got the speedway stuff down pretty good on the with these Gen 4 cars. Dalton's really good at super speedway racing. Josh is really good at super speedway racing, so I'd look to those 3, try to follow their strategy and kind of follow what they're doing and mimic them.
And coming into tonight, Kevin, as I mentioned from the get-go, 0 wins for you, not just this season, but in your career here in NORA. Yet Dalton Tucker is the reigning champion, and he's got 5 wins this season. So is there any feeling from you that maybe you just need a little bit more, not necessarily from anyone in particular, but just a little bit more to match the level of these guys who are going out, like Dalton, and getting these race wins any given week, competing at the top level every single week? Is there anything that you feel like you are missing?
Probably just the aggressiveness side of it. I don't know. A lot of them are aggressive. I usually try to take care of the people that I'm racing around and not try to cause too big of issues. And so I don't know if that cost me a little bit or not, but I'm hoping to get the monkey off my back eventually. I was texting Josh Langos last week. I said, I just want to win one of these races just once. Then I would be completely satisfied if I'd never win one again. But it's going to be tough. There's a lot of good guys in the field again tonight. Super speedways are kind of a toss-up. You got to have luck on your side, as well as putting yourself in the right position, making the right strategy. So we'll see, but I'm definitely feeling good.
And Kevin, if it's any consolation or maybe even any motivation here this evening, YouTube comments, apparently my son watching the broadcast out in the living room looked at the TV and saw your car and said cookie car. So I think he's in your court tonight. I think he's in your corner pulling for you. So best of luck.
Perfect. I love it. Thanks, guys.
Kevin Baumler in the 81 going for a win here this evening. Hopefully that can happen. Hopefully we can put one in the column for him. But it has been, I don't even want to call it a drought here, Silas. It's just been straight up winless for the 81 car all season long, even going back to last season in 2025. Here's a look briefly at the time charts once again from this practice session. Still 7 minutes to go. Rusty Rafferty is loaded in. I think we're at 34 cars is what it looks like so far So good to see all these guys coming in, some part-timers, some one-off entries. In fact, one of them is on track. It is Rusty Rafferty running the same car that Chris Woodstone ran last week at Montreal. Good to see Rusty in the race here tonight. I know he's kind of a game time decision, but at least planning to run the entire race. Might have to back out early, we'll see. And then also some other guys that are kind of here for the first time in a while, or first time all season. Here's Joseph Andujar. He hasn't been here in a couple of weeks. We also have Anthony Krobach on the racetrack in the 49. Look at that paint scheme. That absolutely fits in. Some Schwann's number 49 Kenny Schrader energy. I love that. And then we also have a couple of brand new drivers. Here's a couple of them. There's the 96 of Michael Durham Jr. I know it doesn't quite show on the ticker or the graphics there. Michael Ponder Jr. in the 98. They're teammates with Trenton Johns in the 34, making, I believe, his second start of the season. And that's most of the one-offs, at least that have been on the racetrack. There's a couple of others, such as Isaiah Watrous, and I think there was Christopher Heights. He's here for the first time in a little while, so good to see some of these guys coming out of the woodworks, as they say this evening, as we get ready to go racing here from Daytona. But I do want to go ahead and do our gas and goes segment here, Silas. I know this is new for you. We've had a lot of fun doing it, and so let's get right back into this. It's basically rapid fire topics to talk about for everything going on around the league. So let's jump straight in, dive straight in. First up, and I'll keep this easy on you since you haven't been here for all of these, but straight in, championship implications. Of course, the 3 taking the points lead last week at Montreal. This is pretty big. Dalton Tucker grabs the points lead. This is our first points lead change since the points began this season. It's the first of the season. We had Hunter take over when he won the race at Daytona to start the season off. He's led it every week since then. He got those 3 wins early in the season, has been winless since Talladega. This is big as we get ready for the chase. To have this points lead at this particular time, I think, is very significant. Half the season under the 4 car, it just might be the other half the season under the 3. Moving on that same kind of topic, can Hunter Sr. turn it around? And Silas, we just spoke with him. This feels like kind of a make it or break it race for him. Not for the chase, just for momentum's sake. He's won the previous 2 plate races in this series. Can he get a third? Can he turn that momentum back in his favor?
I think he can. I think this is going to be a huge race. He's going to have to make something out of it. I would not be surprised if he's at least top 5.
We'll be watching for the 4 car this evening. On down the line to the next one, Donald Kite. We saw him on the far side of the points getting into the chase. He's still out right now, 13th coming into tonight, 168 back. You see it there. But Donald Kite needs a big night at Daytona, and he is on plenty of guys' fantasy teams for tonight. He does feel like somebody. He's in that spider camp, the juicy spider camp, along with Hunter Sr. and a bunch of those other guys. He feels like he could contend. I don't know, though. The 21, he's been kind of hit or miss the last couple of months, had some great runs to start the season off. I certainly want to pull for him. He's a guy I know from Xbox way back in the day, 10 or more years ago. But, man, he needs a big one. He needs a big night for sure here this evening at Daytona International Speedway. And I was just talking with Kevin about this, the lopsided win column here in Silas. Look, I don't know what they got to figure out in that camp, but they need more than 1 car in victory lane. When you're fielding 4 of them weekly, you need to get at least the 8, the 15, or the 81 in victory lane. So far, none of them have a 1. Baumler, Housen, Brady, Moats, all winless still. How do you change that?
I really think you just need some help from your teammate who's won so many races in that 3 car. I think it's just going to come down to, can Tucker help any of them?
We'll have to wait and see if this is the night to change things for that number 81 or any of those teams for that matter. Next up and final on our list here this evening, you'll notice we have a couple of extras in here. Will Durheim. I just noticed I don't have an I in there on the graphic. Ignore that. Will Durheim seat search for 2006. He got that win at Chicagoland finally, but he is kind of flying solo this year. His brother Chance Durheim hasn't raced in a couple of months. The 99 and 6 are very part-time at best. He really has no help. He's typically racing on his own, in a voice channel on his own. Will he go seat searching? Look, I don't know how you feel on this one, Silas, or anybody else. I know if I was in his position, I would be looking to find somebody to team up with down the road.
Well, he's going to be a hot seat. A lot of drivers, a lot of teams are going to want him with them. I'll tell you that much.
He is going to be a hot commodity in the off-season. The silly season already starting. I've heard rumors here, rumors there, rumors everywhere about different drivers looking for different seats. We'll keep an eye on things. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about as the summer and fall race on here. That said, I mentioned fantasy with the 21 car, Donald Kite. We do have a fantasy update coming into this evening as usual. Here's a look at the standings coming into tonight after 18 races. We only picked for about half of those so far, but John Scavnicki still on top and hanging on to that points lead nicely. In fact, the entire top 9 exactly as we were the week prior. The only change here, Super. Oh, I slipped up. Slilas. Chris Winstone in the top 10 now. Good to see him moving up, but everybody's staying stagnant up here. When are you going to get back into the top 10?
You know, probably never. I do not make good picks. All right, I don't know what's wrong with my picks, but they just never seem to work out.
Well, best of luck to everybody playing this evening. We certainly like having this game go on, in the background of these races. It's a lot of fun to talk about each week, and you can still get involved. In fact, you can still make your picks for a couple more minutes here if you'd like to go over to the Pit Stop TV Discord server. Let me get that out of the way. You can see the Discord link bottom of that screen. You can still join. You can still make it in, make your picks. I'll extend it here. You got till 8:34 p.m. Eastern. 8:34. There should be just enough time before we go racing this evening for you to get some picks in. So if you join now, you've got 4 minutes. 4 minutes to make your picks. 8:34 is the cutoff, so get in, make those picks. It's really simple. You pick one driver from each group that's listed, outlined in the post, and then you just pick who you think will have the fastest lap and who you think will win. That's it. 5 things to do. It takes barely a couple of minutes. And if you're joining for the first time, you don't have to think about who you picked last week to make sure you don't pick them this week. That's it. Just go and pick them and get involved if you'd like. But power ranking is the other kind of hot topic, I think, coming into this one. If I can get the right graphics out of the way. Here we go. Boy, things have changed a good little bit since the last time you were on. I know that for sure, Silence. Vincent Arthur now on top. Dalton Tucker in second. Chase Durham has slid back, but boy, I mean, he's also slid up. It's kind of weird. He's kind of in between. He did lose some points on his score there, but still looking good in third. Josh Conover, Ryan Housen, they moved up a little bit. Brian Jones and Hunter Sr. dropped down. And look at Jacob Malone and Brady Motes. Now, Malone is not here tonight, but the couple of wins at Sonoma and Montreal have really boosted his stock. I don't know if he'll be racing next season or even more this season, but he's looking good right now for sure.
Yeah, and, you know, this is like a really good, actually, for me also. Because again, I haven't really been here for a little bit. I've tried to watch all the races, haven't been able to, but I've tuned into the ones I can. And I especially think it's even good for those people who are just like me, who haven't been able to watch every race. This gives you an idea of who has the momentum. And honestly, I think that if you're not, tuning in every single, week, this is probably the most important graphic.
Absolutely, I agree. And this, again, it shows you kind of who is good lately. Certainly, Arthur and Tucker are the talk of the town. I think behind them, Durham, Conover, Housen, all kind of in the same conversation. Jones there too, just a tick behind, along with Hunter Sr. And then guys like Gavin Baumler and Brady Motes, they've got something to pick up here. They are close, but they've got something to pick up, something to find if they want to get in that same category with the guys who are winning races at the front of the field. Those are your Dark Star Garage power rankings coming into this evening here at Daytona. And we have got a lengthy grid to go through. We'll do that in just a moment. 36 cars here tonight. Here's a look at the weather conditions for this race. 85.9 degrees in the air, 94 on track. It is a relatively warm day. Not too warm, honestly, for Daytona Beach, especially with the heat wave we all just endured in the United States, but it's still pretty toasty. And let's go through your starting grid this evening. On pole, how about Josh Adams in the 23? A part-timer going to lead us to the grid alongside the number 3 of Dalton Tucker. Farther back, Kevin Baumler, Josh Conover at row number 2, followed by Cody Anderson and Jacob Gladulich. Back in row number 4, it's Kyle Tubb and Anthony Krobach. How about those couple of guys here? inside the top 10. Krobach, I think this is the second start of the season, maybe third. Good to see him towards the front here on the grid tonight. And then there you go, Donald Kite and Ryan Housden. Each of these guys could use some points this evening. Kite especially, he'll be starting from 9th place.
Caden Henry Oaks in that 5, Chase Durham in that 16 will round out your top 12. Followed by former points leader Hunter Sr., who's going to need a great race from 13th with John Skivnicki on his outside. Then we have Matthew George and Brian Jones. And Rusty Rafferty and Brady Moats take you to the 18. Nick, I'm going to butcher that.
Gilles.
Gilles. Oh, that's actually a fun way of saying it. And then Nick Ham to round out your top 20.
We actually learned it's Nick Ham. We've been calling him a ham sandwich all season long. It's Nick Ham in the 88. Learned that recently. Back in 21st spot, Caden Perkins in the number 84, making one of his random starts here for Hendrick at a Chevrolet. Ronnie Norman out there in 22nd spot on the grid. Jake Christenberry, Brad Fulham, that's row number 12 on this 36-car grid, followed by LJ Hernandez and Vincent Arthur in the field this evening. Good to see LJ back with us here tonight. Cody Smith and Kyle Rochelle there in row number 14, followed by Noah Blackwell and Cody Reeder to round out the top 30. The final 6 look like this: Joseph Andujar III, Trenton Johns, Christopher Heights, Isaiah Watrous, and then the Michael Juniors at the back. Michael Durham Jr. and Michael Ponder Jr. In that order as we get ready to go racing. We'll get one more pace lap around the racetrack. I think there's one car going to the rear of the field. That is actually Rusty Rafferty. He has to start from the back tonight because he did not qualify that car. We actually pulled the old switcheroo over at Kirk Shelmerdine Racing to get his car in. And look, I know he's not here tonight. Something went on, but we planned on having the 72 run tonight with Zach Murtis behind the wheel, and unfortunately something happened with that and he could not make it. Certainly hope that he can get in one of these races sometime soon, but tonight just wasn't meant to be. We pulled the same switcheroo there with his car. Now, I will say, Nick Gilles is not on the grid. He told me he might not be. But Josh Conover also is not actually on the grid. He did not roll out with these guys. That's a problem for the 48 car. I mean, he looks good for the chase, sure, but this is a race that he definitely had marked on his calendar, and that is not what we want as we get ready to go green flag racing here this evening. We'll keep an eye on that for Josh in the number 48. Here's a look at Whiplash SimCam's race details. This is a 96-lap race, 240 miles, 77% fuel in these cars. I don't recall the exact number from Daytona in the spring. I think it might be a little bit longer, though, than what we saw way back when. We might get a couple of extra laps because I think these guys might do some fuel saving. At the same time, a caution could throw it all off. So I don't want to put too much stock in fuel numbers just yet. We'll play ball with it as the evening goes on here. Silas, as we get ready to go green flag racing, do you have a pick to win this race?
I'm going to have to go with Hunter Sr. I think this is a race he's going to need to push hard, make a comeback. He didn't believe in himself too much, but I believe.
If I've got to go for somebody, I'm going to take Caden Henry Oaks. He's starting 11th tonight. Let's see what the 5-car can do here this evening into the start zone here at Daytona International Speedway. The old version, the bumpy version. It's still the World Center of Racing. Here we go. Josh Adams leading us to the green at Daytona. Dalton Tucker on his outside. That's the new points leader down to turn 1. A lot of stars and stripes out in the field this evening, just like you want to see it. Dalton Tucker, the first of them, he's leading down the backstretch of turn number 3. The Daytona Super Stretch, always the first opportunity to lengthen your runs at the front of the field. And the 3 cut is exactly that.
He's going to have some competition from that 20 on the inside. As we can see, already starting to get a little bit spread out in the back. We're probably going to be seeing a little bit of, very loose on the outside. we're going to also be having to look out for that for the entire race, as we see cars already getting squirrely, and we're only on lap 2.
Yeah, some big bumps throughout the field. These guys, of course, have big bumps in the racetrack, and they're getting some big shoves from cars behind them. Got to be careful of that. Don't want to shove too hard in these cars. Yes, they have the super speedway bumpers of old, but that does not mean they can handle a push from Narnia and back. You've still got to be careful, as Josh Adams looks on the right rear there of Gladulech, who did move down to take that spot at the front of the field, if I can get the words out. And look at Krobach up into second. He's bringing Housden along with him the top side. This is a great bit of momentum, though, for those DEI cars. The 3 and 15, they're both in the top 3.
Now, I do just want to point something out. I know it might be a little bit early, but look at the run from the outside. Our pole setter, who started on the inside, down in 8th place. So we need to be looking at that as, oh, here we go. Finally out of the pits.
Josh Conover on the racetrack, already 3 laps down. That is going to sting for the 48, but he'll give it a shot. 2 laps down, actually, technically, as one car is going backwards. That's the 3 of Tucker. Led the first couple of laps. He's going to fall back and try to save his stuff, make sure he stays in this race. I can't say I blame him, but I am surprised. I don't know if I would be dropping back from the lead. I think I would let myself naturally lose the lead first.
Well, I mean, he's the points leader, so I'll trust him.
I see some smoking deep in the field. What's going on there? Yes, problems crashing. Lap 4 under yellow. The 34 of Trenton Johns is involved. He is not the only one. I saw the 6 of Hernandez. It seems like they bear the brunt of it. The 27 of Rafferty also checked up, but I saw him go clear through it. Boy, oh boy, problems here for a couple of part-timers on just lap number 4. There's John's car. Looks like all the damage centralized to the right front, and for Hernandez in the 6, unfortunately, it looks like his night is done even sooner than Mark Martin's was in 2005. When this race ran for real 21 years ago, that number 6 left on a rollback very, very early.
Yeah. It sucks. Running a accurate scheme.
Yeah, one of the few that is in a completely accurate paint scheme, not just to the year, but also to this race. But that's okay. Trenton Johns, I think, just got loose there, and boy, Andujar got a big piece of that in the 07. There was a lot going on through the trial of that lap.
Yeah, it just looked like just a tick bit loose, and it could have been from one of the bumps, honestly, right? We were talking about bumps, and it is very easy for a car to just get unsettled, just unhappy.
Here's LJ's perspective, and what do you know, that was right on the outside of Dalton Tucker. He gets away scot-free, but, I mean, he tried to leave the chaos. He was nearly part of it.
Good time for him, but it does look like maybe just a little bit of that lick on the outside wall. I might have been wrong with the bumps, just like I'm wrong with our fantasy predictions.
So there goes the 34. You can see him on the outside. He gets into the wall. You see the sparks, and then, yeah, just loses control. Boy, what a view. And there you see, that's a 2 for 1 as far as that Hall of Fame racing crew, the 34, 96, and 98. That's 2 of their cars involved in this one incident. The 34, one of them, Trenton Johns, he ends up crashing into his teammate and friend in the 96. That is Michael Durham Jr. in the 96. Here's another look. Just got up into the wall. And boom, into the 96 car there. It's going to be some big damage for the 96 in the left rear. That could be suspension damage, race altering suspension damage. It looks okay driving away, but there is definitely some crinkles in the left side door.
So I'm just gonna come down to if he can handle it. If
there
the
you
car
see
can...
Durham in the pit lane, taking service along with LJ Hernandez, who did lose a lap in this exchange. Trenton Johns in the pit lane still. He is still on the lead lap, though. There's Joseph Andujar getting repairs, and Brad Fulham in the pit lane. I don't see any damage on that car. I didn't see him involved in anything, but he is taking service, and he'll now roll away and get down the pit lane. He'll follow Durham back onto the racetrack, it looks like. And Josh Conover, boy, this caution could not have been more perfectly timed for him. Issues with him getting into the race tonight. He's 35th, now 1 lap down. It was 2 laps down originally, not 3. This caution just about saves him. It's not that hard to get 1 lap back, although sometimes it can take longer than getting 2. Regardless, that first lap back for the 48 car is big.
Yeah, again, if another caution comes out, right, he's back in it, right? We know he is a powerhouse, so if he can get that extra caution, if he can get on the lead lap, I expect him to do some damage.
He was good here in the spring. I definitely would expect the 48 to be a front runner if he gets the opportunity to actually just race with these guys, as there you see them working down the short chute from turn 4 to the tri-oval. We have not yet looked at the schedule here this evening. Here's a look at this season's calendar. You see we were just at Montreal last week for what was actually 52 laps, not 81. From here, though, it's out to Pocono for the second time in just a couple of months. Second time this year. We'll be headed up to Pennsylvania for that race, and then Indianapolis the week after. That should be exciting. We've got some big tracks right here, right in the center of the schedule. Daytona, Pocono, Indianapolis, and then Watkins Glen, the third and final road course this season. That should be exciting. Followed up by Michigan and Bristol. I mean, there is no rhythm to this summer stretch, but I keep saying this, it feels like the best tracks to be at for a summer stretch.
Yeah, really big ones, and I personally love big tracks. I love seeing the cars, have to handle their way through the high speeds. I don't know what these drivers think about them, but I personally love them.
So everybody getting reset and ready to go racing once again here at Daytona International Speedway. Thanks for joining us. I guess we can go ahead and break this out. We haven't used this in a while. Obviously a long race to go. I mean, we only have 6 of the 96 completed. LG Hernandez 1 lap down. So 3 cars a lap down. Conover, Hernandez, and Andujar. This early in the race, are you panicking that you're a lap down? I mean, obviously there's still plenty of time, but it's never a guarantee that you get these laps back.
I mean, we've already seen a caution. I think, right, with that, drivers are going to play it a lot more safe. I wouldn't start to worry until around the 60 mark. I feel like right around that mark, you might be, like, if there's no caution that's come out by then, I'd start to get worried. But as of right now, there's plenty of laps left, right? Plenty of laps for caution. I wouldn't be too worried.
Well, here we go. Anthony Krobot going to lead us back to the restart zone. We'll take a look at this from our fan cam here at Daytona. Green flag back in the air, 7 complete, 89 to go. 1 car to the bottom, slowing down aggressively. Problems for somebody. It's Heights in the 2. He is down into the grass, into the pit lane. Not sure what's going on for him. He will get back on the racetrack and continue on as if nothing ever happened. That was bizarre.
It certainly is a little bit odd, but back to the lead. We already have a separation, actually. I just noticed that in the back. Could have been a bit of a poor restart. Someone's peeking to the inside. Can't get a good sight of who that is.
That's Caden Henry Oaks in the number 5 special paint scheme on that Chevrolet this evening. Trying to get the 11 car going. That's Christenberry. He drops down to the inside of Tubb. There goes Blackwell on the outside now. So they're trying to get that bottom lane going. Obviously, it's difficult to make moves early on these restarts when you're single file at Daytona, but you've got to get somebody down there to move the lines around.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like that move. We saw how the outside was working earlier on. You see a lot of these guys starting to realize maybe the inside was not the way to go, and they're trying to get back to that outside as soon as they possibly can.
There's an onboard with Caden Perkins. He's going to slide in line there right behind Vincent Arthur, his teammate. So they will sort that out in the mid-pack, and Michael Ponder trying to get in line in the 98. He will not do so. There you see that separation. Back to George, Rochelle, and everybody else back here. They've already got themselves a bit of a gap to the guys ahead. I mean, we're talking about 1.25 seconds on the racetrack, and I know it's early, but I never like getting too far behind. I never like losing the lead draft.
Yeah, as long as you can stay with that pack, right, you feel safe. It's not too bad right now. I feel like if they can work together, catch back up to that pack, then I think they don't have to worry. But double file is not going to help them at all. They need to be working together.
Single file through the top 19, just about one car slow on the inside. It's Ponder. Actually, he's on the outside now. He is letting that entire pack go by. He's actually going to fall back to his other teammate, Durham, in the 96. All of their cars are still rolling. Trenton John's the next one behind them, but he's another 3.5 seconds back. So Ponder going to try and grab this draft and catch back up.
Not a good day for them. Well, actually,
Look at that, yeah.
never mind.
Fastest on the racetrack is Durham, rather, in the 96. Look at this. These guys, this is the pack that Dalton Tucker has eventually ended up in. He's in kind of the crazy stuff back here. I mean, these guys are side by side. The leaders aren't.
Yeah, I was saying it earlier. Double file is not going to help. They have to go single. They have to catch up to that lead pack. You see, look at the gap. Look at how much time they're losing by fighting. I understand, right, as previously mentioned, it's still early on into this race, but, you know, the more they fight, the more time they lose. And if it does go green, it's going to hurt them in the long run.
You see a message from Rusty Rafferty to play the NORA fantasy game. How about that?
No offense, but I think you should focus on driving.
What's that?
Oh, I was quoting Lando Norris when he said, no offense, but I think you should focus on driving.
Well, we ran that car at Canada last week with Chris Winstone. He finished 4th. And I put that little message on the back of the car just for funsies, to try and get more people to play it. And there wasn't ever a good opportunity to show that part of the race car last week at Canada, being a road course, so it's our first good chance to use it, as Rusty Rafferty runs in the second of these two packs this evening. This is your lead pack, though, your top 18, all part of it. Vincent Arthur, the final car in this group. Caden Perkins eventually lost touch with them. He is back here with these guys. Cody Smith, Dalton Tucker, Cody Reeder in this group.
It is really nice to see all these American patriotic schemes, right? After our 250th celebration of America, it's really nice to, to see everyone coming together and, right, just celebrating America.
A bunch of them out there this evening. Some really cool paint schemes in general throughout the field. If we get a good opportunity, we'll take a look at them a little bit later on. But for now, single file through just about the entire field, even both groups. I mentioned we might see these guys try to save some gas here tonight. This 96 lap race distance puts them in kind of a weird spot. I'm going to scroll back, actually, and see if I can find about how long these guys can go on fuel in February, but my inkling is they can go about 28 laps. About.
All right, I'll pull out the calculator.
I mean, I guess the goal they would be shooting for back in 05 in a full fuel race would be about 40. So I guess 77% of that will give you an idea. But again, I think that's about 28. So I think that's what these guys are kind of aiming for. I'm trying to get back to our data from Daytona. I'm seeing 30 to 35. And so again, that's where some of the fuel saving is going to come in. I think 30 is a little closer to what they actually will be able to do, as there's a lapped car already. That seems to be, I think, the 6 of Hernandez. Or maybe the 2. I'm not sure. It's not the 2. There's the 2. Is that the 6? Oh, the 6. Was that Andujar? I think so. It is.
Not what you want to see out of him. Of course, involved in that early incident. Probably hasn't just been able to get that speed. Car's a little bit damaged, and he will unfortunately go, I believe, what's this, 2 laps down now?
This will put him 2 laps down, yeah, along with, well, he'll be the only car 2 laps down, but he is one of the 3 lapped cars along with Conover and Hernandez. Here comes the entire field as he's just kind of putt-putting along, trying to get through this race. You see, pulling about 167 on his own in the corners. This group will not save him, though. There's no way. He will not be able to keep up with them. He might be able to pick up a few miles per hour behind these guys and try to tag on to the group behind them, but I don't know that his car, if he's only pulling 167 on his own, I don't think he can match the mid 180s that these guys are doing in a group.
Yeah. And I did just notice the 21 fastest lap, and that does remind me, the score of actually the World Cup USA game is 2-1. Unfortunately, USA is losing that.
Well, I'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the course of the evening. I'm not a big soccer fan. I have a massive respect for the sport, but yeah, I haven't been able to follow that too much. I see this very long line of cars. It does look like that second group is catching the lead pack. In fact, Vincent Arthur has fallen back to them. Everybody getting a lot closer together now. Arthur's leading that group. Here's his on board. He is just behind Donald Kite.
Yeah, and you see, I was telling you they needed to get single file, and what happens when they got single file, right? They started getting momentum, now they're catching back up. So, this is definitely going to help them out in the long run, right? But it also does go to show it's going to be a lot harder to convince guys to pull out of line. It's right. You see, just going single file is much better, allows them to catch up. Going on that inside to try and pass is not going to be preferred by a wide margin.
So Arthur caught back up the lead pack here. This is quite the scene to see these guys all together now off the corner. Look at them. Here they all go. The one driver that was down low is the 19 of Reeder, and he's not going anywhere. He is actually falling backwards in a hurry. There goes the entire line on by him. His opportunity, is right there in front of Hom. So he gets in line briefly, and they allow him to catch up and get back up to speed. So that'll be 24th spot for the 19 car. Perkins, by the way, has fallen back here with Fulham and Ponder. I'm not sure what's going on for these cars, but they are off the pace. Caution, Watrous, right in front of those cars we were just on board with Reeder and with Fulham, or rather with Hom. That's who it was. My goodness. Caution's out. Seems like it was centralized to the 40. Let's take a look. Is off of turn number 2. Reeder just hit him.
Oh, came in too hot.
And that's not going to help make any friends out there as far as trying to find guys to work with tonight. We just saw Reeder going backwards on the inside lane. In fact, there he is jumping up to get in behind the 40 car. And then out of 2, it looks like maybe some chain reaction of single file racing, and the 77 checks up right here. You see the 40 pedal it big time, and the 19 just absolutely smacks his rear bumper off the corner, and there he goes.
That's just unfortunate, right? Probably misjudged it, maybe couldn't have hit the brakes in time, and unfortunately going to result in a caution. But that's kind of what you expect when big single file, right? You can see a lot of checkups, and unfortunately stuff like that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, Cody just really didn't check up until he got there. Here's driver's eye POV. This is about what he saw. And you can listen. In fact, we'll be quiet here for a second. Just listen to the pitch of the engine. I mean, he was maybe lifting and going, lower percentage of throttle there, Silas, but he maintained those RPMs. You could tell from the pitch, he maintained those RPMs a long, long time. Here we go, pit stops for everybody. This is a great little checkpoint to grab some tires and fuel. 20 laps in, we're talking about, are these guys good or not to, 28 laps, 30 laps, whatever. This is a great chance to get some fuel for everybody and try to make the pit strategy a little bit more simple. 49 overshot his box. That was Krobach. Everybody else looks good. And down and away, a lot of fuel only, as you'd expect. And Josh Adams somehow is the first of them off. He was one of the last to get into his box, of course, because he was the pole sitter tonight, but He gets out ahead of Skavnicki and literally everybody else. The first driver to take tires of any kind, it looks like, is the 15 of Ryan Housden. Looks like he took 2. Behind him, the next car to take 2 is Chase Durheim. Behind him would be Anthony Krobach in the 49. Behind him would be the 20 of Gladlich and the 33 of Anderson, who, by the way, is on my fantasy team. I picked him for Group 3 this week, Silas, and I'm curious as to how this one's going to go. I tried to get a little more creative with my picks today, a little more out there. I certainly have the highest of hopes, but let's see, who did I have again in Groups 1 and 2? I already forgot. It's so out there. Baumler and Tubb. Baumler, Tubb, and Anderson.
I mean, those are some pretty good picks. What did I choose?
You have Baumler, Norman, and Rafferty.
Yeah, I did have different ones. I decided to change them up at the last minute. I just went purely off the vibes of it. And honestly, I feel bad because I have cursed these guys to have a bad finish now.
No, I think Baumler's a good pick. I do truly believe, you know, I was pretty hard on him in his interview, but I genuinely believe this is a great opportunity for him to get a win, finally, right here at Daytona. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for anybody, but particularly for him. And Ronnie Norman, he really could use it. He's right in the midst of that Chase Cutline battle and really does need the points. He actually enters tonight, I believe, just barely in. Yes, 13 points in over Jacob Gladlich, 42 over Brady Motes. So he could really use a good night. And speaking of Brady Motes, on the other side of that Chase battle, there he is in the number 8, sporting a very patriotic number 8 car. That car actually ran in 2007. And it's one of my favorites, actually, that Junior ever drove. Across any car, any number, that is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, of any paint scheme he ever ran.
I mean, at least you know off rip. I mean,
I had a diecast of it as a kid. I think I still do somewhere in my collection, and I might even have a 124. I don't have a 164. I might have a 124. It's all blurry, but yeah, that's a fantastic looking one. Some of the others in the field that are patriotic or red, white, and blue at the very least. There is John Skavnicki in the 38. That is lore accurate to what Elliott Sadler ran. Well, it's close. I don't think it's exact, but it's very, very close if not. Sadler actually ran out of fuel in that race. We also have Ryan Housden. We saw his car a little bit ago. That's fantastic looking. We saw the 81 already. Also the 42 of Cody Smith. I think the 21 of Kite kind of counts. It's U.S. Air Force based. I do like Vincent Arthur's car, and then certainly Dalton Tucker just might take the cake here this evening. But into the restart zone this time, we'll go racing once again. 2 cars in the inside lapped. Those are the 6 and 07. We are back green, 22 complete this time. And back down the Daytona Superstretch. It was not a good start for those lapped cars on the inside. They're starting to fall back, and that's going to leave it up to the leaders. One of which is that 4 of Hunter's Senior Fuel, only on that stop, and that's important. That puts him up in the mix of things, and track position here could be a huge, huge difference if we do go green for a while.
yeah, it's going to be definitely harder to pass with a lot of drivers really wanting that outside. I honestly think that fuel only was the way to go if someone hits the wall in the back.
That was, I think, the 88 of Hom. He checks up big time. And you see the disturbance of everybody into turn 1. They're all trying to find their spot. And he'll get a line. That'll be the outside, just in front of Christenberry on the outside of Perkins.
Yeah, but I do think that fuel is the way to go, right? Track position, very important. We saw, right, how hard it was for drivers to pass each other. Whenever someone tried to peek on that inside, they were immediately shuffled out into the back. Maybe as we get onto the later stages, when people start getting more aggressive, is when that can change. But as of right now, I think track position is the way to go.
24 complete of 96. I believe that marks our quarter mark in this race. Now, this race is scheduled to butt right up against in-sim sunset. And that's about an hour and 13 minutes away, about an hour and 12 away, actually, as we hit 6:48 in-sim. It's right around 8 o'clock. Oh, Kite!
Oh.
Arthur, watch out! What's going on here? They both bailed out of line. There goes Jones to the bottom. That was a big moment into turn one. Thankfully, everybody still pointed the right direction, but that could have been disastrous.
You
And
have to know
Rochelle's
what
in the
happened
wall.
there. Oh my god. I mean, it is just a battle of who can, you know, not get bumped around too much. Might have been a bump, might have been just they got too close. I'd love to see what happened, but I mean, at least no one wrecked.
That splits these guys up again, this time behind 12th spot Ronnie Norman. So a larger second group now as everybody finds their spot back in line. Brian Jones, he fell all the way to 24th in that exchange. Here he is. Next car ahead of him, that would be Trenton Johns in the 34.
I mean, that's what happens without the draft. Tried to go on the inside, tried to get a spot. Couldn't get it, was just trapped on that inside, no draft, nothing you could do.
Whoa! Matthew
Whoa.
George tries to get in line, gets into the 6th car there, it looks like, of LJ Hernandez. That's going to bring the 84 around as well as the 27. Look at the 48, back on the lead lap. I shouldn't say back on the lead lap, on the lead lap for the first time tonight. That is Josh Conover back in this race, 28th spot. And around some like-minded individuals, got a team behind him. That's Matthew George. Kind of an unofficial teammate, if you will, on the 27 ahead, Rusty Rafferty. They were teammates over in BRB at the start of the season. And then Caden Perkins is a teammate in the 84. So I think Conover's got some good guys around him to bounce off of and try to get back in this race. Hopefully not literally bounce off of.
Are we sure it's only lap 27? I mean, feels like we're battling with 5 to go here with how many times we've almost had an incident.
And you know what? That's just the beauty of this car at this racetrack. It is hard to hang on to at times. We've seen that already. A couple of these guys getting loose, getting into the wall, whatever. You know, it's not quite the 1987 Cup cars, but it's definitely a handful compared to some of the more recent NASCAR stock cars that have raced in the National Series. This definitely requires a bit more of the driver. Here we go, the 24 on the inside. He's moving forward. That's Vincent Arthur. And this is the other part of it. In the wall goes Arthur! Oh my goodness. Gladgelich paddled beautifully. That was a great job of avoidance by the 20. But Vincent Arthur all over the place out of turn 4 there.
Not what you want to see. Just try to slide job, slid too much. Now we've got 3 on the inside in no man's land.
Here's a look back at that for the 24. Watch that silver and blue machine. He's going to dive right here on Gladgelich. Had the run, went down with it. Rochelle eventually kind of goes down there. But off the corner, watch the 24. He's going to try and slam it back up to the top side. The banking is falling away from you right there. I mean, that is not where you want to change lanes.
Yeah, just slide job, slid too much.
So from the 20, here it is from Gladgelich's perspective. You see him down there, and right as the banking falls away, he moves up. And no, there is not the same track to catch you there all of a sudden. He was very, very lucky that the 20 did not run him over. That could have been a large incident there, still very early in this race.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, right, it's a battle of the track, honestly. As we see, that's a lap car. Who is that? That's Hernandez. He's gonna go 2 laps now. We have one peeking on the inside.
That's
Into
Blackwell.
3 and 4.
That's going to bring his teammate Durham along with. I mentioned earlier, is Durham going to go seat searching? Doesn't usually really have teammates on the racetrack here on Monday nights, but he's got one tonight. And Blackwell's trying to go forward. Durham goes with him. That's going to bring Cody Anderson down there as well.
You know, seeing him get double file right inside, it's a little bit harder to get that inside lane moving, but at least they're trying, trying something different. I don't really know if I would have done that, but at least they're going for it. At least they're trying something. It does not look like it will pay off.
Well, and that's just it. You can't beat somebody by following in their tire tracks unless you're going to hit them. And that doesn't quite work here at Daytona. But, oh, this is a logjam. Everybody checking up. Right in this mid-pack, you see Brady Motes drop down in behind Tucker. Gladgelich goes with him. They're behind Arthur, Rochelle, and Durham. Blackwell moved back up. There is a lot happening in this little section of racetrack as they wrap into turn number 1. That's 6 cars in the bottom now. That might be enough to move forward, but Arthur blinking is not going to help them.
You're going to need just a little bit of momentum, a little bit of run. What's really important is that these guys are going to have to stick together. They're going to have to be like, all right, we're committed to the inside. I feel like if any of them like jolt out, they go to that outside, all the momentum's getting killed. As here's the lane. Are we going to see the 16 take it? Yes, he will.
It's an exchange.
And that's not what you want to see. Not what you want to see. Oh, he's going to go back to the inside, actually.
Went up top to get the push from Norman, comes back down, gives the shove to Anderson. It was an exchange. The 16 went up, the 33 came down. Now the 16 right back behind the 33 car, trying to shove Anderson forward. Cody Anderson, I want to mention him really quickly. He was a surprise to see starting 5th place tonight. Really good qualifying effort. I would like to see this 33 in the thick of things. Doesn't have many teammates here. I believe he runs under the RCR banner. And really none of them are here tonight. Not Jordan White in the 31, not Tyler DeTalent in the 29. I mean, really none of those guys are here, so it would be big for Anderson to pull something out of the hat here this evening at Daytona. He now gets in behind Cody Smith, and they're going to try moving forward.
Inside lane finally starting to get more momentum as you see drivers deciding, all right, I'll join you.
Uh-oh! Skavnicki tried to go down. There was a car there. It was Hunter Sr. in the 4. He dropped out of turn 4. Smith now gives a shove to the 4 car. This is getting really, really interesting. We still have a while to go before any kind of pit stops. This is just guys wanting to move around, wanting to race.
Yeah, Hunter Sr., I told you we're going to have to look out for him. He's going to want a pushback race. He's going to want a bounce back. And take a look at who's leading. Is this his jump? Could we see him take that points lead that he had for so long of this season?
Needs to move up in front of Josh Adams. But here we go on the inside. Cody Smith going to move up to the top spot. Maybe it's going to be a drag race to the line, and that would have gone to the 42 of Smith. I know he feels gypped from this race back in February. He would love to put a 1 in the win column finally, especially to do it here at Daytona. Near contact there in 1 and 2. And you can tell these guys are really starting to move around. We looked at the weather conditions earlier in the evening. That track temp not really budging. Neither is the ambient temp. So everything's staying the same for these guys. But boy, the momentum on the racetrack, that is what's shifting right now.
Yeah, that inside really starting to get her going. Now that we've finally seen that inside make some progress, a lot of drivers are willing to go down there. Not only is that helping the inside, that's really hurting the outside. And honestly, I don't know about you, but in a situation like this, I would rather be on the inside because it gives you options, right? You can either stay, or if you see an option, you can go to the outside. When I'm personally driving, I like as many options as I can take.
It's tricky. I think if I'm going for safety's sake, I definitely want to go on the inside. But I sometimes like that top side. If I want to try to be a little more competitive on one of these racetracks in one of these races, maybe the outside to try and move forward. You see the conveyor belt starting to happen. Guys get a run in one place, move up to the other lane or down or whatever it might be. In this case, Smith went high after clearing on the bottom. Typically, the top side goes forward, clears, and drops down. Tonight, it might be the reverse. The top is the place that these guys typically want to be, it seems.
Oh,
As there goes Anderson, completing that spin cycle. He jumps up in front of the 42.
it's a little odd. Right? I've noticed this when watching the races that go on in like real life, how a driver will get a whole bunch of momentum with one lane and then just dip to the other lane and then start to lose a little bit of momentum. Right, we saw that a little bit right there with Hunter Sr., who was on the inside, dipped to the outside, then fell down to third. He's back on the inside. It's a little bit odd to see some drivers do that, but he's back on that inside lane now, and he's going to try. He's already in second, trying to go for the lead now.
On board with Krobach in the 49. Hunter Sr. now working the inside lane out of turn number 4. He's going to get the lead back as he's got Durheim right in behind, then Rochelle. Skavnicki and Baumler also on the bottom lane, as at the line that would have been Hunter Sr. by a couple of thousandths of a second over the 33. But into turn 1, you see that run for Anderson. He's got the lead back away. There is a slow car ahead. That, I believe, is Joseph Andujar. He will go 3 laps down when they catch him.
Yeah, riding low, just try to stay out of everyone's way. That's a good choice.
There you go. Joseph Andujar drops down. Unfortunate for him, one of the service members of the series. Definitely thank him for his service and hate that he is in that kind of spot tonight. I think it might be day done for the 07 as these guys are shaking things up behind. This lead pack is where it's at, though, that's for sure. This is the top, it looks like, 20 cars. All the way back through Nick Hom. On board with the 88 car.
Yeah, it is.
And the trouble is they have nowhere to go back here. Modern Daytona, you can go 3 wide. The track is smooth enough, you can push it. I don't recommend it unless it's the end of the race or a stage, but you cannot really go 3 wide here. If you do, you're asking to crash. Maybe you get through without crashing, but you're asking to crash if you try to go 3 wide, especially if you go 3 wide middle here. There's a checkup on the outside.
Yeah, huge checkup on the outside. Really big momentum. Speaking of that middle lane, the 11 was trying to maybe just get a peek up there. Could have been shuffled into the middle if...
There's the middle lane.
There we go, yep.
Rochelle dips down underneath Durheim. Durheim's going to have it open on the top side. He's going to take it. That was a wise choice, I think, by the driver of the 16 to just move up. Accept it, as now Senior is going to get put 3 wide in the middle. That's the kind of sucker hole. And he does not have a gap. He has a gap behind him.
As Durheim was going to stick out a little bit, maybe try and help Senior. I don't really know what that was. Lost his spot. As take a look at who's on that outside. Tucker went to the back, decided he didn't like it, and now he's back into the top 10.
Yeah, Dalton Tucker moving back forward. He is in 9th currently. Rochelle moves up to get alongside Durheim. Here is Tucker in that 3 car right behind Isaiah Watrous in the 40, who went for that spin off of turn 2 via the nose of Cody Reeder a little while ago. And this is where pit stops might start to be thought about. These guys have run now 20 laps since their most recent stop, and that was under caution, so really call 18 of green flag racing, I think. That said, if you work this race in reverse, if we go with the number of about 28 to a tank, we'll even say 25, right? Back that up from 96, that would be 71. Back that up again from 71, that would put these guys pitting around, 46. That's only now 4 or 5 laps away. They can easily get there. I think that might be the best way to split this up evenly as Watrous goes down low in turn 1. I think these guys are going to want to pit a little bit before lap 50. I don't think there's much value in going longer. And if you do pit a little bit sooner, it's a little bit less time you got to spend filling the car back up with fuel.
Yeah, but then that next pit stop, you're going to have to spend even more time. Do you want to save time with fuel now, or do you want to save time with fuel later?
Well, it would split it about evenly, though. That's what I'm saying. It would split it among the runs left in the race and this run, almost evenly. Because they're at 21, now 22. If they go 4 more laps, that's, 26, and they can cut it about 25 and 25 to the end from there. So I really think that's the most balanced way to do this. I don't think you can save a pit stop by going long.
Yeah, well, what are you thinking about for some of these guys who didn't take any tires, right? What do you think their plan is? Are they gonna have to take tires here pretty much?
That's a great question. I really don't know. I would think in this car... I would try to at least get right sides this stop. Or at least one of the two. I would try to at least get right sides. I don't know if I would want to go fuel only under green. Under caution's a little different. I don't know that I want to go fuel only under green. I think this car, it moves around a little bit too much. I just want that stability. I want to be able to trust the car where I'm going to put it and know that I've got control of it. And you can get a 2-tire stop, and I think with as much fuel as you guys are taking most of the night, I think you can get 2 tires on the car pretty easily. It's that 4-tire thing that I don't know if you're going to be able to do 2. Or 4, rather. So maybe you do 2 less now and 2 rights later. But I really think you want to think about the end of the race and make sure you've got the freshest tires on the car that you can to go to the end.
Yeah. It's all going to come down to that final lap, right? We were talking about it. It doesn't matter how many laps you lead as long as you lead the last one. It's hard to tell. But I'll tell you what I think at the end of the race. All right, how about that?
Fair. Well, your top 5 are clear of the inside lane. That's Anderson, Smith, Adams, Housden, and Krobach. Great shot there of the back straightaway grandstands that are no longer there in reality.
I never understood why they took it down.
I do wish more tracks had kind of alternate grandstands around the racetrack, like turn 3 would be nice at some more facilities, but I know it's not exactly feasible everywhere you go. Regardless, 45 complete this time by, we're just past halfway. That is a really fun sound.
Every NASCAR fan's favorite noise is the flyby. I love it. Every time I go to a race, at least at one spot, like at least once, I like going down to the catch fence, and I just love listening to them right by. I see there's a plane in the back. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, there'll be planes landing there all night long as we've got some cars moving down. Norman, Tucker, and Baumler all hit the bottom lane here. That tells me they're getting ready to pit. Housden down there as well. It looks like Moats is trying to get there. They're trying to get lined up. And Norman kind of races with those guys. There we go. All 5 are in line now. That's your 4 DEI cars plus the Robbie Gordon number 7, driven by Ronnie Norman. They're all trying to pit. I think this lap, maybe the next. Maybe the next. There we go. Anderson drops down. Smith drops down. Everybody trying to get down to the bottom. They're coming in for sure ASAP. And Johns, Durham, Perkins, they are in. George is in. Kite. Oh, George is readjusting. Kite, Tubb, Conover, they're all in that last lap. Let's see what these guys do. The leaders off of turn 4 this time. They've been undercut briefly. Here's the run out of 4. Everybody hitting the pit lane. Every single one of them.
Wow.
5 wide. Watch it. Wow.
Oh my god. And it looks like no spins. Gotta hand it to him. That's impressive.
But will we see some penalties? I saw at least one car hit the cone on entry. On the inside, not even the outside cone. The inside cone as Adams be the final one to hit a box. And they're starting to leave. Full amount. There goes the 7 of Norman. The 24 of Arthur. The 8 of Moats. The 16, the 33, the 81, the 3, the 23. It's the 7 leading him out. The DEI guys stuck together pretty well. Smith, that might be unsafe exit. He put 2 over the yellow line. Watch out, there goes Anderson, the 33. Crashing off of pit lane. Anderson goes around. It seems inconsequential. Nobody else, I think, in trouble. Everybody else kept going, but that's going to sever this front end of the field. And Tucker, I think, is going to be with Arthur. He's fallen back.
That is not what you want to see. You know, a guy getting spun around. Just too hectic coming out of the pits. I mean, God, we had what was that, like 20 cars come in at once? I'm surprised there was only one car that went around.
Robot getting back up through the gear. He's on the inside here of Christenberry. He's 12th now. He's trying to get clear, and he does. We've definitely got a fractured pack at this point in time. Motes and Norman got out ahead. Look at them. They played that perfectly. And Smith and Baumler are there. Trouble, actually, for the 15. Where is he? Housden. Did he get a penalty, maybe? Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Don't want to see it, but...
The pit timer here, you can tell, 51 seconds. That is a typical pit stop, about 11 plus 40.
Yep. Is that all? How many other penalties we got?
I think there might have been a couple of extras, but it looks like Anderson might have one now. I want to go back, though, which that really sucks for Anderson. He should not have one. Straight up, I will defend that. Oh, man, that was coming in. A 99 and 49 all over the place. Anderson should definitely not have a penalty. He got spun around, but let's see this coming into the pit lane. Watch the 15 of Housden here. He drops down to the inside of Smith, and he's trying to make a pass on pit entry. He hits the cone right there. Now you see some of the contact entering. And so then watch the 33 here on exit. And this will be that incident out of the pit lane into turn 1. So there's Anderson. He's going to get service. Your right sides for most of the field. Kind of like we expected. They can do that and still get full fuel. So wait for it. Here goes Anderson out of the box. What exactly happens here? I know we watched it live, but... So he's in the middle. 4, now 3. Tucker's underneath him. With Arthur right behind. Baumler checked up, and... Boy, Anderson tried to give him room, and that just was not relayed to the 24.
Yeah. It's hard to see when everything goes by so fast.
This is that mad dash back off the pit lane. Look at that. It was just as chaotic leaving as it was entering. Cody Smith just over that yellow line. Baumler's going to check up to get back off the grass there. Then, yeah, Arthur just gets him. And Anderson has called it a day. So there goes my fantasy team.
Starting to get the me kind of luck, I see.
Oh, I've had it. As we've got our lead pack mostly back together, it looks like 11 cars now versus the 20 we had previously. And this is how these races go. This is how you weed the field down in a green flag format like this. These pit cycles will be what does it. And I gotta say, the DEI camp played that almost perfectly. Housden really was the one outlier there.
Ronnie Norman, he's out in the lead.
And he's working with them. So he's not technically on their team or anything, but he's working with them. So he's an ally to the 8, the 3, and the 81. 81, by the way, is the tail end of this line. And then Cody Smith is kind of a wild card because Smith and Tucker have a bit of history. And it's not the kindest. So I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what the 42 is going to do. He's a wild card in all of this. He has technically Watchers as a teammate, but, like, not really.
You know, it's just... You got to put some of that stuff behind you. I know, right? It's hard to. I've had my fair share of drivers I haven't gotten along with. But you kind of got to put that behind you, at least for now, right? Especially at a track like this, you just have to work with whoever you got.
Definitely at this stage of the race, if you don't have friends around you, you just got to make the best of it. As you can see, the right rear damage on the 42 there are some cars ahead. That's going to complicate this. That is going to be this group. That includes, actually, Housden and Watrous, as a matter of fact, along with Fulham, Reeder, and Rafferty. Rafferty, the back end of this, he's kind of on his own. And he has no teammates. That we know for sure. He has no teammates here. We were supposed to have the 72 with Zach Murdis behind the wheel. We even surprised him with it, but unfortunately not able to race tonight. Something came up kind of last second for him, so Rafferty very much on his own. And those leaders, they're going to want the top side, so where does Rusty go here? The bottom, you would think.
All it's going to come down to what he decides.
He does have prerogative to hold the outside if he wants it, but he will drop down low. He just wanted to stay high as long as he could. So here come those leaders. He will hit the bottom, hit the deck, if you will. Moat's trying to get the draft. Arthur went down as well. Let's see from the onboard here of the 27. How's this going to go? Everybody getting by.
Yeah. And he will, slide
Oh, there goes the 23! Josh Adams to the pit lane. That's one way to make an entrance. Great catch.
Probably not the best way.
Grab a gear, get digging. See if race control will clear it for you. It's going to stay pit speed. He's better than I am. I would have started ripping at full speed again. I would have got back on the gas as hard as I could. There's Rafferty on the inside. And then off the corner here, a checkup maybe. Durheim checked up. Henry Oakes checked up. Rochelle just didn't get the memo. He ends up hitting the 23. There he goes. Again, that is a fantastic catch. We're going to go replay to replay here now for the 42 car who's got trouble. Here is the 42 of Cody Smith. He's in between these DEI cars. He has just had an issue. He is still slow. 70 miles an hour. What happens here? So the field went low, I think, to try and get rid of him. Galadulich tags him. Wow!
Oh.
That is a huge, huge impact for the 42. Yeah, the right front gone from that machine, and he just had to suck it up. No yellow for that.
Surprised there's no yellow. I would have. Look at he doesn't even have a tire. Can't even see anything out of his front windshield.
So much for the wild card allegations for the 42. He's out. This leaves mostly DEI at the front of the field, but it's a lot of the same players we would expect on any given week. Moats is up here, Norman's up here. Norman actually leading, Moats second. Look at Tucker and Arthur, third and fourth. Then you got Gladgelich and Blackwell. They're kind of the wild cards here now because it's only the top 6 in this group. Then you have to go a little ways back to Chase Durheim and Caden Henry Oakes. They are followed up by, here we go, Krobot, Christenberry, Senior, Skavnicki, and Baumler. Realistically, these guys just need a caution now. If you're not in the lead pack, you just need a yellow. And they almost had it.
Or you just, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised there was no yellow. I personally would have thrown the yellow, but what do I know? I'm just a commentator.
I'm gonna check on a stat really quick because I recall looking through some stuff earlier at Ronnie Norman. And I don't recall him having many laps led to his name when I was looking over his stats earlier. No, for his entire NORA career, Silas, he has 1 lap led coming into tonight.
Well, this is the site he's not using. No,
there goes a 20. Off the bumper of the 16. There you see now 13 laps led for Norman. But Jacob Gladgelich, big catch there for the 20 car. That seems to be the theme right now. Some bad pushes turning guys all of a sudden. Let's see what happened to the 20 car here through the tri-oval. Small checkup. And the 99 just gets him.
Just a little love tap.
And that's splitting these guys up. Norman with problems. He's in the wall now off of Brady Moats.
Just a little bit of contact there, and these cars do not handle it well over some of these bumps. If you tag someone in the wrong spot, not what you want to see is, take a look at this. Now with only 5, that group behind catching up big time. Look at the run that they have on Norman. I know Norman might have just hit the wall, and he's not really the fastest, but you can see they're gaining big time. A second now. They were about a second and a half just a few seconds ago.
Yeah, this is changing very, very rapidly. 3 wide back there. Norman on the inside. Krobach middle. He gets in front of Senior. Skavnicki in the top 10. Baumler hanging on to it.
You know, I was feeling pretty good a little bit ago because I had him on my fantasy team. I'm still feeling good, but definitely less.
Yeah, I'm riding on Baumler, Tubb, and Anderson. Anderson out of the race. Tubb, all problems, Chase Durheim. Durheim with issues. Caution. Trenton Johns now with an issue. He's around.
Oh!
Damage on the 34. I don't know what else might be involved. I see the 25 is slow. That's Matthew George. I don't know what just happened to Durheim in the 16, but he's gone.
Gone?
I think he may have had a network flag here. There he is briefly in the pit lane. No, he comes in. Remember, he had contact with somebody. Who was it?
I didn't think it was too bad, but he must have thought so. Maybe he had something outside of the sim.
Let's see if I can go back and find the source of the contact here briefly. This is going to be a bit of an effort to do. See. That is right front damage there. Okay, so let's do it this way. He ends up just kind of coming in on his own. Let's see, was it this time? I think he just realized his car was not keeping draft. It was the next time around, I think. I want to show this here quickly, but it's really just him pitting. I don't recall who it was he made contact with. Was it the 42?
I can't recall. I think it might have been. But it could have been something outside the sim, or maybe he just, just decided that his day was done.
While that was happening for Durheim, something happened with Trenton Johns. It'll be the next time around the Speedway. He was racing solo here at the 84 of Caden Perkins. I can only imagine there must be contact between these two to lead to this incident. Chase Durheim telling us actually in YouTube chat there was a checkup coming out of the pit lane. And there was. We saw some of that, and it led to damage for his car. But here's Trenton Johns out of turn 2. Sounds like Durheim just called it a day. He realized his damage was just hurting him too much.
Hate to see it.
I am so curious, though. What the heck happens here with Johns? He's in the wall and just loses it. Oh, you hate that for the 84.
Hard hit, too.
And Matthew George just makes it by. I mean, he just lost it.
I mean, just went over the bump a little bit too bad. Hit the wall, I think. Maybe just got tight at the wrong time. Hard spin.
Caden Perkins, a big slide there after that big hit to the nose. Matthew George narrowly avoids it. I want to get the onboard here at the 34. There's his driver's eye POV.
Already looks like he's fighting a car a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, anytime a car loses it on their own at Daytona, I wonder. In that case, I don't really know what I think there, honestly. I can't tell if it looks like he's on a controller or really high force feedback. Let's slow this down. He's fighting it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a lot of sawing on the wheel and just up the racetrack. Pulled it off really aggressively, yanked it back to the right, back left. Just a really odd situation.
Right. I think maybe something might have happened. Was he involved? Right, wasn't he involved in that incident at the start? Maybe a little bit of damage.
He was. There is something to be said for that.
It's my best guess.
This will put these guys just on the outside of needing one more stop. So I think they will all need to pit one more time, but it's going to be weirdly close for them as the 98 tries to get a lap back. That is Michael Ponder Jr. A handful of cars come back down the pit lane. One of them is Nick Hom in the 88. Ryan Housden is back in. He was saved by this. He's back on the lead lap. He's doing all right. There goes Skavnicki back on the racetrack. They're topping off Roush Yates cars. That's a good decision. Perkins back into the lane. And how about this guy? Rusty Rafferty is the lucky dog under this caution.
Tell you what, I am a fan of that. I have him for my fantasy team.
I almost did. I guess I should have. But he's going to pack up to the back end of the field and rejoin, albeit from the very back end. Noah Blackwell is going to lead us to this green flag. He's going to have Hunter Sr. in behind along with Jake Christenberry. Everybody did take service under this caution, but the top four seem to have gone fuel only. The only one I'm questioning there is Christenberry. His stop was slightly longer, almost like he may have taken left sides in that number 11. But fuel only, I think, for your top four. Your first tires on the racetrack will be Krobach in 5th, then Moats. Krobach took 2, Moats and Tucker both took 4. Brian Jones, it looks like, took fuel only. Vincent Arthur took 4. Conover, 2 tires. Baumler, 4. Everybody else beyond that, pretty much 4 tires.
We were talking about it earlier. Fuel, we could see someone try to go to the end on fuel.
Ponder did get that lap back, by the way, as the wave around cars. He'll pack back up here as these guys go green into the restart zone. We're going to have 31 to go, maybe just outside the range of fuel. Green flag back in the air. Can anybody stretch it to the end? By the way, Ponder on the 98 had just enough time to catch up to the back end of the field. So as we race towards sunset down the Daytona super stretch, everybody finding themselves back up in 4th gear, trying to position themselves maybe for the end of this race. I do think if I'm anywhere towards the front of the field or the back of the field, really anywhere in the field, I think I'm going to be trying to save a little bit of fuel. You won't be able to do a whole lot towards the front unless these guys sit in line for a little while. Your fuel saving will probably happen towards the rear mostly, so don't count anybody out of this race just yet until we see what happens with tire and fuel strategy. I mean, that's how this is all going to break down.
Yeah. Where would you want to be in this situation? Would you want to be towards the front or towards the rear?
Track position right now for sure. 30 to go, track position. Give it to me.
Yeah, I don't I'm trying to like judge where the sweet spot for you're deciding to save fuel is. But you know, it's definitely hard, right? Because we're right on the cutoff of that like kind of fuel area with just over 30 to go at the end of the caution.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
I'm going to want to be at the front. I'm going to want that track position, but I don't think anybody is out of this right now if they're on the lead lap. And that's 28 of 29 cars currently circulating around the racetrack. So I think if you're on the lead lap right now, you have a chance. Because, you know, we sit up here, we talk about fuel, anything could happen. So if anything, I want to be towards the front. I want to give myself the best track position opportunity. But there are still plenty of ways to get back in this race if you are a little bit deeper in the field. If you are maybe 20th position, you are certainly just not out of this thing. There is one car just ahead of these guys. That is Michael Ponder, actually. he just had to pit along with Trenton John. So he got the wave around, but had to come in and get fuel.
Unfortunate for him, he will go up 1 lap down again. Not what you want to see, but just how it goes.
That's right. That's just how it goes. As here goes the field underneath our drone camera into turn 1. Krobach leading the bottom lane. He's got help from Arthur, and it looks like Baumler, then Adams, and how about Kyle Tubb back in this? We have not seen the 32 car in a while. He is suddenly up here toward the top 10, along with Brian Jones and a handful of others that have had their races absolutely revived.
And yeah, we're going to see, actually, hold on, just up ahead, that last car, are we going to see checkups already a little bit? Everyone trying to jostle their way out of here. No real good spot. A little bit, Lucas almost going to spawn in front of the field. Very good that he didn't. Wow.
That was hectic for sure. This gives some room now to your top 3. Caden Henry Oaks jumps back up top in front of Brady Moats. And there goes Henry back to the bottom. Caden, hang on to it. That's the 5 car. Wow. A Kyle Busch-esque save, and there they go! Jones, Conover, and more off of turn number 2. That's the big one so far.
So far, I love how you added that. Just unfortunate. Maybe a little bit of checkup as they saw Caden Henry Oaks spinning up ahead. A little bit of checkup. Everyone tried to just make sure they weren't involved in that. And unfortunately for them, started another incident.
Ronnie Norman, the big loser, I think, in all of this. He has no right front on that car. He's got a lot of damage. We got to go further back. We got to see how this starts for the 5. That's really what, tips all this off. And it's set off by the 98 a little bit, but there was enough time for these guys to figure it out. So there was that catch for the 98. Here's the 5. He's going to drop down here in the tri-oval, trying to get a run. He's trying to get aggressive and go forward. He jumps back up. Here he goes into turn 1, turns it left, gets loose. And that's again a transition. That's the second Hendrick car tonight that has made a lane change on the banking transition and nearly crashed. In this case, it was Caden Henry Oaks. Earlier, it was Vincent Arthur. So Caden did a great job of hanging on to it, but everybody behind him did not fare so luckily.
Yeah, I really want to see how all of it kind of went down, because you see everyone's checking up a little bit, trying to make sure that they get out of the way, and then yeah, just went a little bit high, got in the wall, then made contact with Conover, and nothing he could have done.
Rather drastic incident here in turns 1 and 2, really turn 2 mostly. You see it happening, it was starting up. Baumler trying to go middle to get through this, and he does, but then Conover gets into the back of Jones, and that tips it all off. Adams, Tubb, does he maybe just get through? Kite as well. Rochelle into the side of Jones. Reeder's in it. Norman, I think Gladgelich might have just checked up in time. I mean, a big crash off of turn 2. Gladgelich does get a piece, along with Ponder, who had just been lapped.
Yeah, not what you want to see. That's just unfortunate, right? One guy just starts losing it. Everyone's trying to make sure that they're safe, and just everything kind of goes downhill. It's just unfortunate, but that's just how it goes at these big super speedways.
That was a look from Gladgelich's point of view. I think we might have ourselves a Murtis Mega Miss opportunity here with the 32 car. Let's see Kyle Tubbs' point of view. It all starts happening in front and around him. Oh, right to the middle. Wow. How about that? Grab a gear, start digging. He and Kite both get through that beautifully. You see it all happening in the background. My goodness, that was really good stuff out of the 32 car. Here's a look at it from the tower. That is absolutely Murtis Mega Miss contender. Wow.
Threading the needle.
That's incredible.
So, looks like we're going to get another pit stop for those guys that maybe weren't so sure on fuel.
Take one more look at this before we get back to live picture. This was not a Murtis mega miss. Here's Josh Conover. This is what kind of starts the actual crash portion. Henry Oakes caught the car, but then Jones got the wall, and Conover just rode up into him. And it's on from there. Skavnicki, I think, also got through beautifully. He did a great job of checking up on the 38 car, so some really good wreck avoidance from a couple of these guys. I think mostly Tubb, Kite, and Skavnicki from what I saw is here we go. Everybody has taken service. Everybody now is good to the end. But that's only good to the prescribed distance, Silas. So that, you know, back in 05, I don't know that we had really green-white checkers. Overtime finishes, maybe one attempt. We can extend this race as long as we need to. Unlimited attempts at a green-white checkered tonight. That is important to note.
And while that does sound good, at some point I am going to want to go to bed. So hopefully we just go green the whole time. But, I think, with this, caution laps are going to help. I think that they're going to be good for 1, 2, maybe even 3 green whites. I think 3 might be iffy. But I really just think it's going to come down to, will these guys be able to just not wreck each other for a little bit?
You saw from those from the MX Wraps weather details, the track has cooled down a little bit. Look at the race details there. You see the unlimited green-white checkers. And time in sim. This is what we got to start thinking about. We've got time to get this race in currently, but if we get a couple more cautions, we could get close to nighttime here at a track that does not have operating lights. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen watching. And here in about 5 to 10 more laps, we will make our picks for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. Keep that in mind as well, as we are nearing decision time. This is going to be an interesting place for a restart. Again, there's about a half hour to sundown, so these guys have just enough time. I think we're good to about 8:15. So we have about 40 minutes to get this race in. Right now, we're good. But we know how these races can get.
Yeah.
23 to go. Hunter Sr. the race. Leader Christenberry, Blackwell, Moats, and Tucker, your top 5. The whole field all together, just with a few more damaged cars out there now. It was 23 to go at the drop of the green, and so many cars are back in this race. There's some contact, though. Be easy on the shoving here, guys. We don't need to wad up more of you before we even get down to the real nitty-gritty of this thing.
Yeah, and also, every caution is more time that we're wasted. Do not believe the Lightning McQueen's lies. The track is not always lit, all right? You're going to have to look out. We don't want it to get too late with no working lights, even though technically they do.
That's Montgomery McQueen to you.
Oh, sorry.
22 laps to go that time by the flag stand. This is about to get very, very interesting. You see the track is definitely starting to get darker. The shadows getting longer. The sun continues to drop behind the grandstands. By the way, the car that you saw way back in the distance, that was Josh Conover. He is still in this race on the lead lap, but quite a ways behind the field. 10 seconds behind these leaders currently, and 20 miles per hour off the pace. Cody Reeder also off the pace. He is going to be lapped, I think, within the next couple of laps. He is consistently 15 seconds slower than these guys. I would say within the next 2 laps, the leaders pass him.
Yeah, and it's going to do a little bit of bunching up. Definitely going to keep these guys going single file. I don't know when. It's all just going to come down to when
wow.
He's going 140.
He's only in 3rd gear. That car is not safe. in my professional opinion, but he's going to try to stick this out as long as he can. Yeah, that is not ideal at all for the
Well,
19.
I mean, at what
Caution!
point does he just park it? Right?
Gladulich
Oh my God,
Rafferty up and
oh!
over!
Oh
The
my God.
27 is taken off. Housden's a part of it. And this is a big incident for a couple of guys that were riding around towards the back of the field. It's literally 4 guys that were at the back. Johns, Housden, Rafferty, and Gladulich. And Housden is going straight to the pits.
Remember, this is more time being taken off, more time going into the darkness.
Let's see here. So Housden got tipped. Rafferty then hit him and up the racetrack. Wow! 2 in the air.
Wow.
Jones got a big piece. It's not every day you put a car on the catch fence, literally, and that's what we just did with Gladulich.
That was...
That's a bad one.
I think Rafferty might have got his end in the catch fence as well. I couldn't quite tell, so we might have had 2 in the catch fence, or at least 1.
Wow.
God, that was a nasty hit.
That's one of the more destructive ones that we'll see this evening for sure. It's like the 27 of Rafferty tried to go down to help Housden, and when he did so, that did nothing but hurt the 15. He just hit him too hard in the corner. Watch this.
You can hear just the metal screeching.
Rusty giving us his best ballerina impression.
I'd give him a 7 out of 10.
The dismount was a little rough. Let's see this again. That's just a really massive hit, and Brian Jones had absolutely nowhere to go. Through the middle of it, though, how about the 88 of Nick Hom? He just about threads it all to get on through. Here's a look for the 88. He's just kind of tagging on to the back end of the field. Watch this. He ends up getting some netcode contact, but I think he gets away without damage. I think. Housden got him in the right rear. Well, it's a little cattywampus. He might have some toe damage, but honestly, for what it could have been, I still just about count that as a miss.
Yeah. As long as you get through an incident without your car being totaled, I feel like you can count that as a win.
Here's the 45, Brian Jones. Really had nowhere to go in all of this. It just, wow. Holy cow.
I mean, that's not a pretty sight seeing a car go flying straight over you.
No, it's not. Here's, if you're squeamish, if you're motion sick, anything like that, maybe look away for this one and the next one. This is Gladulich on board, driver's eye POV. Up in the air. Ooh. And that car is
like
junk.
Yeah. I mean, Gladulich hit the catch fence, but I feel like Durham might have got the worst of it, honestly.
Here's Rafferty, that car that was just ahead of him that did the flipping. This is also going to be a moment to maybe look away.
It was Rafferty, I got him confused.
That's kind of actually intentional. I'll get to that in a second. There's Rafferty up and over. Wow.
Yikes. It's a hard one.
And yes, that paint scheme is meant to emulate older paint schemes from Greg Biffle, actually. The Kirk Shelmerdine racing team actually rolled out the 27 and 72 a couple of times in those colors. They actually purchased a car or two from Roush Fenway Racing at the time from the 2004 season and ran them in 2005. So we did try to be lore accurate in that way, as here's your race leaders. They have stayed out this time. And I don't blame them.
So when it does, when that sun does go down, if we get to that stage,
it is going to get
there.
Well, it is going to get dark. They will keep racing as long as they can. We honestly, I don't have an exact procedure from these guys. So Nick Geilis, I'm sure he's watching. Maybe he can lend a hand, but I don't know what the exact procedure is or the exact parameters. But I know they're going to go racing as long as they can. That's for sure. And if we end up on onboards, then so be it. But they've got, looking at the time here, about 20 more minutes. That should be enough time. And look who's leading, by the way. Just like he drew it up. Hunter Sr. at the front of the field. Now, there's still a long ways to go before the end of this race. That's for sure. But as we have 17 to go, once we get back to the green flag, it's definitely getting closer. You know, we had about 10 extra minutes or 8 extra minutes at the last green flag. Now we have about 3 extra minutes, 2 extra minutes even. It's going to be a little bit tight. If we get another caution, we're in the danger zone, certainly, of running into the dark here at Daytona. These guys will want to be on their best behavior for this restart.
I mean, best behavior that they're able to do with the amount of laps we have remaining.
That's right. Here we go. Hunter Sr., Jake Christenberry, Noah Blackwell, Brady Modes, Dalton Tucker. A very similar top 5. There you see Barney the Flagman. Green flag once again. 17 to go at Daytona. And Rochelle jumps in line. That's important. He is not a lead lap car.
He can keep fighting as much as he wants, though.
Trenton John stays down low. No planned landing this time. You see one there off of turn 2 as Vincent Arthur gets clear of the 34 down the Daytona super stretch. It'll be 16 to go when we get back to the stripe. That's, of course, how that works. 17 down to 16. But these guys are good on fuel, especially with that caution. They are good for much longer than they would have been previously. Everybody likely riding in 4th gear under that caution, trying to preserve all they can. But 16 laps remaining. Everybody going to be chomping at the bit. We'll give these guys one more lap or two, but we also got to nominate for driver of the day. It's nearly that time, and these guys are showing their hands. I mean, this is the time of day that you have got to be in the top 5, if not at least the top 10.
Yeah, and we're going to see actually a little bit of battling going on. That's Motes and Tucker on that inside trying to get past Blackwell.
Those DEI Chevys. Look at the Hendrick Chevys, the 24 and 5. Arthur and Henry Oaks, they check up. Oh, there goes Arthur, maybe. A catch off the bumper of Caden Henry Oaks, and there he goes proper. Tubb gets him. Caden's in it. He's at the racetrack, and Brad Fulham gets a piece. We're crashing.
Oh, tried to go back up. Aggressive block, just went around. Awful to see it.
And yeah, that stems from the 8 and a 3. It's not their fault, but it stems from them moving down. They're trying to get by the 99. When that fizzles out, the 3 jumps back up in front of the 24, and Arthur has to do a big stop. And then he goes off the bumper of the 5, nothing that Caden could have done in the 5 car. Arthur is trying to hang on to it, ends up across the nose of Kyle Tubb. Watchers gets a piece. Wow, Caden Perkins barely missed Caden Henry Oaks.
God, that was a lot closer than any of these guys would have liked. The ones that barely missed it. I mean, yet again, more time ticking now.
Yeah, now we're in danger zone. Here's the Murtis Megamiss opportunity from Caden Perkins. His teammate George goes low, he stays high, and look at that. Wow.
I mean, gotta give it to him. Did not let off the gas.
He stayed in it. Watch this. This will be from the tower perspective here in a second. This is a drone for now. Here's the tower shot, and just barely gets through that. Wow. Wow. Great job by Caden Perkins. Reading that nicely and getting on through that one. This puts us in a really odd position. I don't think really anybody expected to be here. So this is, again, where I will cue Nick Geilis, who I believe is watching the broadcast, to maybe lend a hand as far as what the procedure is if we do end up getting to where the race has to be deemed too dark to continue. I still think we can get these laps in as Watchers hit the pit lane. He'll be joined by Fulham in the 91. You see Josh Conover, Rusty Rafferty, Vincent Arthur, and even the 15 of Housden coming in here. When Josh Conover tested this day in sim, I believe he found that we could go about as late as 8:15.
At that point.
But that's pushing it.
We got 30 minutes. Less, actually. So.
Matt Vorn ran out in the
like...
YouTube chat saying, let him rip. That's great, but we got to be able to see them.
Give them all flashlights.
Yeah, tape some mag lights to each side of the hood and just let them go for it. Tell you what.
Worst that could possibly happen.
Let's really talk to a driver about this, see what they think. I'm actually gonna go. Is he in Discord tonight? I'm looking for him. Where? He might not be. I was gonna try and talk with John Scavnicki, but I don't see him out there.
Well,
let's go ahead.
I bet if we could listen in on.
I know who we're gonna talk to actually. We're gonna talk to Donald Kite. We talked about him needing a big night earlier in the evening. Let's go ahead and dial up the driver of the 21 here. And Donald, we've got the in-sim time of day on screen. And obviously, I'm sure you can tell it's getting darker and darker. Do we think we get this race in before nightfall?
As long as I'm in front of the pack when it happens.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. It's on the board, I think. Steve Harvey can cue us up. But... you know, we talked at the beginning of the night in our Gas and Go segment that, you know, you need a big night here at Daytona. It's been kind of up and down, low as 31st. You're at the highest spot you've been in the field tonight. Can you go farther north on that scoring pylon?
Well, I tell you, I would like to do that, but admittedly, this car I have the least amount of track time in, especially at this style of racetrack, and it is completely different than what I'm used to in terms of like really just messing around with the aerodynamics of the car. Like if I try something and it doesn't go well, I don't get a second chance. It's like I have to have somebody either right behind me or something lucky happen for me to get a second chance. So it's hard to make that decision, like when do I do this? When's a good time to go? So that's really just what the gamble is. Luckily, we've somehow managed to drive through a couple of these wrecks, and we're sitting in a decent enough spot to where I feel confident enough we can probably see a checkered flag first.
And of course, you need all these points for, you know, to try and make the chase for the championship. You've got a couple of spiders ahead of you. Hunter Sr. leading the race, Kyle Tubb 2 cars up. Is there anybody else, any other spiders in laying that we maybe don't know about?
Well, Josh Adams, he's not driving a Spider car because we weren't able to get him one painted, but he is a Juicy Spider teammate. He did unfortunately get caught up in that wreck a couple cautions ago, so maybe he's okay enough to get back up here, but we'll see what happens.
Well, Donald, good to talk to you as always. Best of luck. This is going to be an interesting restart, to say the least.
Thank you, guys, and enjoy the show.
Oh, we'll be enjoying it. Nightfall approaches these drivers here. We'll get Donald back down with his teammates, but this is going to be an interesting one. Down to the restart zone one more time. 12 laps on the board. Trying to get this race in while we've still got residual light here at the Speedway. There's just enough now, but I'll tell you what, one more yellow, we're in trouble. We keep saying that. 12 to go. Let's just see what happens. Have your picks ready, Silas. Next lap, we're making our picks for driver of the day. Kyle Tubb trying to put a block on Anthony Krobach. It will hold the 49 at bay for now. But these guys need to be careful of that stuff. You do not want to throw any crazy blocks right now as Skavnicki's 3 wide with Baumler underneath. This is what these guys don't need, is 3 wide racing.
Yep. It's just unfortunate, but, you know, time's ticking out. I think some of these drivers are starting to realize that, but we're going to head over to driver of the day. And do you want to go first or should I?
I'll give you the floor. Who you got?
Well, I'm going to go with the guy that I predicted to win this race. I'm going to go with Senior. He has had one heck of a comeback race. He's taken the lead. He's just done such a great job being able to get his way up here. As right now, he's under threat for the lead, but still changes nothing. He's had a great day. Been up here pretty much the whole time. And he is, you know, he's really trying to get that points lead back from Tucker.
I'm going to make an underdog pick. It's the guy who was just on his inside, Jake Christenberry. He is actually just behind Donald Kite in the standings. He could really use some points tonight if he puts this together. If he gets a run here on the bottom, he could get right back in this. I might have just shot my own pick in the foot here, but who you got for pick number 2?
I got to go Blackwell. You know, he's definitely been a bit of a sleeper, right? 27 spots gained, second place, 7 laps led, as you see right there. He has had one race, one crazy race. I feel like we haven't talked about him enough. But he came from 29th, and he's in second. Gotta hand it to him. It's been a great race for him.
And I feel like nobody has really dominated this race, but one car that we've been talking about at least the last, most recent half of this race almost constantly has been that number 8 of Brady Motes. He's in a great position now. You see him there in line, the number 8, he's 3rd. I'm going to go ahead and add Brady Motes to my list. We're going to ship this vote. You can make your selections. There's really been nobody dominating. You see, nobody's led more than 18 laps. That's Senior and Krobach both. 36 between them. Nobody, though, up over 18 laps so far this evening as we are inside of 10 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway. The North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote has just gone live. You see the 13 laps led as well by Josh Adams. I think 13, by Ronnie Norman. Here we go. Donald Kite to the inside of his teammate. Well, associated teammate anyways, Kyle Tubb.
Trying to make some moves. He's going to need help, but unfortunately looks like he's not going to get it. He does have help from Christenberry if Christenberry is able to hold that inside. And it looks like maybe going to give him, he's going to slow down a little bit. It's not
That's a lot of spots, though.
Yeah. You got to respect him for trying.
You do. I give it to him. He got ambitious there, took a shot. But now we got to look at these guys kind of back into the top 10. Kyle Tubb kind of laying here at 5th place. Michael Durham Jr. in the 96 is right there. You see some grass marks through the racetrack. I'm not sure what happened there, but the 96 Durham, the 84 Perkins, the 45 even of Brian Jones, and look at Josh Adams flying back through here. Donald Kite mentioned him by name. He could be a threat to win this thing still. He's got slightly newer tires, I think, than these leaders, but not by a whole lot. That said, he starts to fall back. 7 to go. Hunter Sr. across the stripe. Does anybody have anything for the 4 car?
It's all going to depend on when people decide to start going inside, right? You've been seeing it. A few drivers have tried to get that movement going, but no one's decided It's time to go.
Donald Kite out of the race.
Oh no. That's gonna hurt a lot of fantasy teams.
Yes, it is. A lot of guys had him for this one tonight. The curse, the commentator curse has gotten the 21. Apparently we won't be interviewing anybody here for this, but here's the 21 off the corner. Just met in the middle with the 88 of Hom. Big hit to the inside wall, and nothing he could have done from there. He was just a passenger.
Yeah, just a little bit of misjudged space between him and Hom. It happens. It's unfortunate. But a heavy hit to that inside.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate for the 21. There you see the close call between them trying to argue over who gets the spot, and there was just no turning that car back around.
Hard hit.
Really hard hit.
Front left just completely broken.
We've had a couple of those here this evening. Some really hard hits in this race, and If they keep at it, they're only going to get harder. This is going to put us with only a couple of laps to go. This might even be our first attempt at a green-white checker, depending on how the laps fall. Now, if we do get into...
we need to look at the time.
Well, that too. I will say, though, first, if we get into an overtime look here, these are your MXWraps.com overtime rules. We'll have 2 laps added on to the race, or at least as many as necessary for the caution, plus 2 for the actual race ending. If the green lap is completed, the race is official. If we get back to the white flag at any time, the race is official. They race it back no matter what. However, if we do not get back to the white flag, if the green lap is not completed, we will restart as many times as necessary to get this race in with an overtime green flag finish. Since we have unlimited attempts here, we don't have to worry about that last bullet point. A caution should not be ending the race here tonight. That said, with darkness approaching, this is kind of uncharted territory at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we have, if it really does get bad at 8:15, we have less than 20 minutes remaining. I think we can get 1 green white off, assuming this one's a green white, maybe 2. Anything else than that, it's too dark. And at that point, we're gonna have to bring out the flashlights, like I previously said.
It's going to be close. I mean, if you look around with our scenic shots around the racetrack, you can see it's darkening up. That shot, I think, really shows it. I mean, this is getting dark. I mean, there's still light, for sure, but it gets dark in a hurry here on iRacing. It does not take a whole lot for that sun to suddenly be below the horizon and really just not be able to see around the racetrack. It happens very quickly, so we still have some time. I just don't know exactly how long. Again, in testing, Josh Conover, about 8:15 is kind of the latest we can go, and so we move the beginning of the race up a little bit to try and give us room for this, to aim still for a sunset ending, so we should be good. In fact, I mentioned earlier, we may see the lights turn on. We have not seen that yet. Even once the lights turn on, we should have about 10 minutes-ish. That's when we gotta worry. So I think we're okay for now. But I'm trying to put...
the lights are gonna do much.
Well, right. I'm trying to put the urgency in everybody's minds here, because we can't mess around, especially now that we're going to go to overtime, I think. Or at the very least, a natural green-white checker that looks like, or close to it. And it's 8 o'clock in Sim. And it looks like it will be 3 to go when we go green. So we got back going 1 lap sooner than I would think. So it'll be 3 laps. This will not count towards our green-white checkered total. And this is actually best-case scenario for anybody that's not named Hunter Sr., because, Silas, you and I know, the single-file restarts, getting up through the gears, there just is not much time on a green-white checkered. This extra lap, if they get all 3 in, that is huge for anybody looking to upset the 4-car.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think there's one guy out here who's going to be screaming that it's way too dark to continue. I think the rest of them are probably going to be saying there's plenty of light. But, it's really just going to come down to, at what point do we decide it's too dark? Or do we get to finish before then? It's really iffy. There's a big gray area. We just don't know. We can't tell.
And you can see there is some direct sunlight. Granted, the sim isn't perfect with that. I'll see if we have a... I mean, the sun is just over the horizon. Just over. We have just enough now to say it's still technically daytime, I guess. But not by much. Not by much.
Yeah, technically, but it's really just going to be... I think if we go caution free, then we're good. But if one more caution comes out, I think we'll get to that too dark region.
It'll be interesting. It'll be very, very close if we get one more. Into the restart zone, though. Hunter Sr. in control of this race, but for how much longer? Noah Blackwell second. Brady Motes, Dalton Tucker, Vincent Arthur, Kyle Tubb, then Durham Perkins, Jones, Skavnicki, Krowak. Arthur is down in 14th. My mistake. Here we go. Green flag. 3 laps to go. They're crashing in the background. Is this going to stay green? It is for now. Here comes Moats.
Trying to make a move on Blackwell. Side by side as we go through 2. He's got help from Tucker on the inside.
And Tom.
Senior's going to be left. Yeah, Senior's on that outside. Moats will take the lead for a little bit. Are we going to see a push from the outside? Senior will take it back.
Tubb went up top to help the top lane. There goes Blackwell off the 8 car. They're both sliding through the grass. Caution's out. We are not done at Daytona. Everybody miss Brady Moats. Watch out, there's more coming, and everybody will miss the 8 car. The 99 of Blackwell down through the grass. We are not yet done here at Daytona International Speedway. They tried coming to the green, they tried down the backstretch, and finally succeeded to put us back under caution. Let's see what happened there at the start first. I'm really not sure where this starts up. I think the 88-ish. There's a gap in front of Hom, and they check up. You can see it starting. So yeah, Hom has to check up. Rochelle then gets hit by Rafferty. I mean, there's just no way to see at that point. You leave that one gap and try to close it, that's what's going to happen.
Yep, just how it goes. But what happens up here is right? We just see Moats just trying to go. I think it might have been he just got too aggressive on the side draft and just got too close.
I think so. He had a great run through 2, but then Tucker just fell back. He had nothing off the corner of the 3 car. So the top side gets rolling, so Moats is trying, desperately to side draft, and I mean, he just got way too close, clearly. Got on the door of the 99. Yeah.
And that sucks. Just absolutely sucks for Blackwell. He did nothing wrong there.
No, I mean, the outside lane played that very nicely. You can see even Tubb here off the corner. He goes up to help them, and that came in clutch for the 99 and the 4. That gave the 99 the perfect shove to get back up to Hunter Sr. Otherwise, it might have been a drag race between Sr. and Moats to the corner. Instead, Moats gets there on the left rear and just hooks the 99 around.
Yeah, that's not going to help Moats in the driver of the day, though. Well, actually, hold on. He is winning. He is winning.
Well, it certainly won't help him as far as the chase goes. Think about it that. He comes in tonight needing to make up points to the cut line, and that is the opposite of what he needs. Sometimes you just got to accept a top 5 and move on with it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, Ronnie Norman was ahead of him. Ronnie Norman's not having the best race either. So.
This is fair.
Glad and Norman were ahead. Yeah, we saw he had a little altercation with the catch fence.
One lap getting the lucky dog, or one car getting the lucky dog. That'll be Brad Fulham. Unfortunately for him, he's 8 laps down still. So this does help, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what he truly needs. It should help him, though, get past Donald Kite. So he will remain be the first car 1 lap down. And once he passes the 21 is out of the race in the pit lane. So that is the 91 getting back in this race. He'll get 1 more spot. That'll be good for 25th. As the field readies themselves to go at it one more time. Here's a look at the running order here under this caution. We don't typically put the ticker up under yellow, but it feels fitting right now. Again, as far as the chase picture goes, you're looking at guys like Tubb in the 32, who's second. That's huge, by the way. He is second for this upcoming green-white checker. You're also looking for guys like Brady Moats, who just was in that crash, along with Norman in the 7 and Gladge in the 20. And then Kite in the 21, and Tubb is the only one of them in this fight right now.
Yeah, it's hate to see it. It's not a good day for those guys near the cutoff.
So a lot on the line for these drivers as they get ready to go back racing. I think we'll get the 1 to green signal here. This will push us to, I think, about 100 laps. 99, I think. Once we get, if this is the 1 to green signal for the pace car, and it is. Lights have not come on just yet. Looking back around the racetrack, those lights are still dim, and they don't work. That's the big thing. If you're just joining us or joined us late, the lights here at Daytona on the 07 version, this is the legacy version of Daytona, they do not work. This racetrack is from like 2007. That's how old this scan is. And iRacing has not backtracked in the lighting model. In fact, they're trying to roll out a new graphics and lighting models. They're dedicating their efforts to that, to apply that to every track versus delaying that to apply lighting to 20-year-old tracks. Frankly, I perfectly get it. Totally understand. The logic there is very sound. It just gives us this kind of very tense situation. Will we get in with enough daylight left to see it? That's the question. And again, overtime rules, bottom right of your screen, super, well, Silas, whatever you want to call it. I mean, this is going to be a super finish, I guess. So, you know, in this spot, how far back do you feel like you can be in this single file restart and still have a chance at the win?
I'm personally saying anything outside of the top 10 is just not enough. I think right, the cutoff is probably around 6th place. I could see maybe with a little bit of luck 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I think without right substantial amounts of luck, if you're not in the top 6, you're basically just aiming for as best of a result you can get, and you'll have to settle that you might not get the win.
Once again, if we get back to the white flag anytime, they race it back. If we get a caution before then, we keep extending this race. Into the restart zone, it is still Hunter Sr. out front. He was so nearly usurped on the last restart. What can these guys do this time? Green flag on the way. It's a Daytona NORA green, white, checkered into overtime. Here we go. Hunter Sr. trying to hang on for a 3rd straight plate win. Kyle Tubb, I don't think he's going to leave the back bumper of the 4 car until the very last moment. I don't know what that 96 and 3rd is going to do, and there's really no telling what Tucker, Perkins, Skavnicki, any of these guys are going to do. There are no allegiances lined up aside from the top 2.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a little bit difficult to find who you can work with, who you can trust. We're coming to the white flag this time by. I think we're going to be able to finish it with some sunlight. We're not going to have to worry about it going green.
And they get back to the flag stand. Rusty Rafferty having blinking issues in the back. They are going to get to the white flag. This restart is official. We'll go to 99 laps, and Hunter Sr. needs just one more to win.
He does have to look out, though. He does have Taub behind him. And then, I don't know, it's going to be definitely a little bit difficult as they go through 2 now. We're going to have to see when does Taub try to make that move. You have to look out. The entire top 5 currently single file. You have to look back as now, Stagnicki in the back, so it's just single file.
Tubb needs this. Tubb needs this. Where's the 96 going to go? Tubb desperately needs this win. The 96 drops down. Tubb's going to stay with his teammate. Tucker trying to push the 96. They're going to go low. Hunter Sr. trying to get back on top of the series, trying to punch another ticket in on the win column, and he's going to do it. He sweeps the Daytona races.
As they crash behind.
A huge crash across the stripe, but Hunter Sr. simply cannot be defeated this season on a restrictor plate racetrack. Unbelievable. And Kyle Tubb took the sacrifice. He'll finish 6th. And there's the lights.
Well, looks like we got it just in time.
Just in the nick of time. It'll be Hunter Sr., Michael Durham Jr. in his very first start ever, his very debut with the series. Dalton Tucker 3rd, Brian Jones a bunch of points, Caden Perkins 5th. We'll go through the full results here shortly. But how about the driver of the 4 yet again?
Don't want to brag, but I did pick him before the race. Maybe the first time I didn't jinx.
Unbelievable. When we get to Talladega in the fall, He's got a massive target on his back. He should jump in the 41 car, I guess. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
Takes him to 4 wins in the season. I don't know if he'll get ahead of Tucker, because Tucker was there too. Gap's definitely going to close.
Yeah, Tucker finished third. It's going to be tight between these two. But the response certainly is heard around the league. Hunter Sr. loses the points lead and immediately fires back. Wins the season at Daytona International Speedway. He needed this. We talked about it all through the pre-race show. We talked to him about it. What a way to fire back and silence the doubt.
Great job, too. Definitely going to build himself back some of that momentum. He was talking about it. He didn't feel like he had that good of a few races and felt that maybe he deserved to lose the points lead. Now he's going to take some of that momentum, and he's going to try and prove his own words wrong.
He's going to keep burning it down. We'll give him the last little bit of light of day, I suppose, to do so. Boy, this is a big win for the 4-car. This is important as far as the chase battles go. I believe there are bonuses to finishing higher in the regular season. So this is very important for the 4-car to try and compete here with Dalton Tucker these last few races of this regular season. He will finally tow that car back to pit lane. There's that Daytona sunset, boy. If we went one more, we might have been in trouble. As we were talking about, we kept saying that one more, but I think we officially found our true one more. Let's go back and get a look at your unofficial race results here from the Daytona International Speed. Look at that. That is perfect. The sun just above the tower there at the start-finish line. Let's go back and get a look at your unofficial race results from Daytona International Speedway. Hunter Sr. with the win. There you see Michael Durham Jr. in second. Dalton Tucker completes your top 3. We'll talk to the 3 of them here momentarily. Brian Jones, 4th. Caden Perkins, 5th. Some big points for guys. I mean, Durham and Perkins don't really need it. Tubb is the one who needed it. And for him to finish 6th, that is... It's still good. It's still a lot of points, but... Man, what could have been? What could have been if they had just organized that right to get him out front of the 4-car for the win? That could have been huge for him, but... You'll have to try again at Talladega. Kevin Baumler finishes 7th. Josh Adams, Anthony Krobach, and Vincent Arthur, your top 10. Good to see the 24 trek back into the top 10 there by the end of it.
Yeah, Kristen Berry will take 11th. Michael Ponder Jr., 12th. Blackwell, 13th after he got spun. And then Cody Reeder in 14th. Nick Hom in 15th. John Skibnicki in 16th. Trenton Johns, Josh Conover, Brady Motes, and Kyle Rochelle will round out your top 20.
A little farther back, 21st spot, Isaiah Watrous in the 40. He might have a new teammate at Talladega, I'm telling you. There's going to be a target on Hunter Sr.'s back, and he ought to be in the 41 car, but Ryan Housden, 22nd. Rusty Rafferty, despite the flip, up and over, literally, he finishes the race in 23rd. Caden Henry Oaks in 24th. Brad Fulham goes 25th tonight, and he's the first one any number of laps down, 8 laps down to be exact. Kite, George, Gladys, Norman, and Durham. The remainder of your top 30. All of these guys out early, and you know, as far as the chase goes, that I think might drop the 21 out of the conversation. It's certainly going to hit the 20 and the 7 very hard, and that might be Kite's only saving grace to stay in the fight. But certainly these guys all very, very rough nights at the racetrack this evening. Nick Geilis didn't make the start. Ended up calling it kind of a day on his side, ended up not racing as it is apparently hot where he is. And looking across the league Discord, I don't know if we're going to be talking with our second place finisher, but we can post the driver of the 4 to the cooldown room and grab him. 3rd straight plate win. I mean, how does that sound, Hunter? We talked to you earlier on. There was a little bit of doubt maybe, but this is a great opportunity, and sure enough, you fire right back and get the win here.
I don't know. I need some time. That's something that I didn't think about it. You know, I didn't think it could even be possible to sweep, at least so far, sweep the restrictor plates. But man, it's such a great feeling.
And we don't see the 41 car. I'm going to keep making this comment because we don't see the 41 car usually in these races, but that had the Target sponsorship in 05, and I feel like after this race, when we get to Talladega in October, you're going to have a massive Target on your back. Can we work something out to get a Target 4 car out there and move you over to the 41 for a race or something?
Oh, I can talk to my my painter Bubba Myers and see if he can get something taken care of for me, because that's just. I mean, at Dega, I mean, when we go back and watch that, nobody wanted to work with me, it seemed like, and we were still able to pull that off by myself. And then tonight, if it wasn't for Noah and Kyle, that just, it wouldn't have been able to be done. And it's just those two, they saved me. And sadly, Noah got kind of wadded up in something, and it kind of ruined his race and lost one of my partners in that. So those two, even if I have a target on my back, those two are, who I want behind me every single time. And same with all the other JS drivers.
I knew Tub was working with you. I glanced over Blackwell, but especially that last restart, Tub needing the points for the chase. Was there any, I guess, doubt in the back of your mind of what you should do or what you guys were doing? Was there any plan if you could get him ahead?
I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, when we have, like Josh Adams or Donald or Noah or me, or even when we had Jared, there's a couple more, Craig Martin. When we have those guys, and it's one of those things where one person's in front of them, we're not going to kill each other to get to that finish line. If one Juicy Spider car wins, all of us win, and it's something that, even in every league we go to at restrictor plates, we're always a denominator that we're always a common denominator of we're going to be one of the cars that win the race, and that's just, it doesn't matter who's in front of us or not. We're all going to work together, and I think that's what separates us from everybody else, and why we are so good at what we do on restrictor plates.
I recall back in February, you said you weren't too good on these plate tracks. What's changed?
Well, I don't like them. I despise this kind of racing. I think it's tonight. You're sitting there in a single file line. Trying not to fall asleep, having conversations with your chat. I despise them. I don't think I'm that good at them. But the results, I mean, they speak for themselves, I guess. But I don't think I'm that good at them compared to Josh Adams or Donald Kite. Those two, if they would have got together tonight, we'd be sitting here, discussing a third place over, behind those guys. So I don't think I'm that good at them. But like I said, the results, they speak for themselves on this.
Hunter Sr. grabs another race win. This is 4 on the year now, 3 on plate tracks this season alone. Boy, we're watching out for Talladega, I guess. I mean, where between now and then, though, if there's a racetrack, I'll even pop up the schedule for you here on the stream. Is there a racetrack where you feel like you can grab another one, I guess, maybe a favorite of yours between now and then?
I mean, if you ask anybody in this league, if everything just falls in the right way, I get lucky enough, apparently to everybody. It could be any track, but the one that I've singled out and the one that I'm looking forward to the most, I got Richmond, I got Indianapolis. I love Indianapolis. It's my favorite track. We got more Charlotte coming up. Kansas is really good. I love Kansas. There's a lot of good tracks coming up that, if everything falls in the right, line, it could end up in a win. And after these last couple of weeks, we ran good at Pocono, ran good at Michigan. And just didn't have the results to speak for it, but it's one of those things that anything could happen. And in this kind of league, there's so many great people in here that are really good, and they can kick anybody's butts, and it's you never know. One week you got Dalton dominating, and the next week you got Chase, and then you have Vincent, and then you have Brian, and then you got Josh. You got everybody that those guys. The top 10 in points right now are the guys that are at any moment can win, and I need them to have some bad races if I'm going to pull out another win besides Talladega.
Well, those races aren't too far away. We'll be watching for the 4 car. Mike Wallace started this race back in 2005 in dead last, and Hunter Sr. finished this one in first. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, I'd love to give a big shout out to you guys. Thank you for the broadcast. Even if I have a really bad race, I go back and watch them every single time. And another shout out to Kyle, Noah. Like I said, they helped me. Couldn't give more thanks to those guys. Juicy Spider getting in, working together with everybody. Mike, Donald, Josh, Jared. Nick, Andrew, my painter, Bubba Myers Designs. Just big shout out to everybody. Big thanks to everybody. Big thanks to you. And I'm gonna love going back and watching your reaction and enjoy watching this race. And so thank you.
It was a fun one. Hunter Sr. in victory at Atlanta Daytona once again here in 2026. We'll go ahead and grab second place if he's here. I don't think he will be, unfortunately. I guess we might be talking to an extra driver from somewhere a little further down yonder. Let's go ahead and grab third place Dalton Tucker, though. He's still around, and we can see what he's got to say after this one here. Silas, here is the driver of the 3-car.
Hey, Tucker, you had a great race. Being able to get into third. How do you feel, though, about your main rival being able to cloud a win?
I mean, just congrats to him. His team as a whole, I mean, late in a race when you got that many of them up there that are able to kind of put themselves in positions to where you're kind of stuck. You can't pull out because you don't know if they're going to go with you, if they're going to stay with their team. You're kind of in a position where you don't want to be, but I mean, all you can do is hats off to them. They put themselves in the right positions and did what they needed to get someone on that team to win. I don't want to say it was strictly going to be Hunter, but Hunter was the one that got it, and I mean, that's a good team effort. That's what you need at tracks like this.
Yeah, and how do you feel now for the rest of the season? Do you feel like this might give him some momentum to take that points lead back?
I mean, momentum is big, but I don't think with these cars and the way Daytona is, I don't think you really get too much momentum from it. I'm not gonna say it's strictly a lucky race because there's definitely skill involved, especially when you win both of them. It's just not too much translates. But momentum is huge, so he might be able to put some really good races together, and I might fall short a few times, so never know.
Yeah, well, great race. You were able to get into third. What were you thinking, right? What did you think the highest you were going to be able to get was on that final lap?
Well, I mean, I'll take it back. The restart before when I had Brady up there, I thought we had a legitimate shot. I thought we could kind of play with the restart a little better and get a run to the inside of him, maybe be side by side going into 3 and make everybody behind us decide, all right, bottom or top. And that was our only shot. You got to have numbers. And like I said, when you've got that many teammates for them that are all near the front, it's very hard to make decisions. So when Brady got into the incident with Noah, and I knew I still had a lot of those teammates for Hunter up there, really, I was just gonna sit in line, finish best I can. I know I couldn't win it at that point. Maybe I could have got a second. It'd have been real tough to do, but it's just you second guess every decision you make when you come down to the end like that, and you don't have people with you that will help you. So you're scared to pull out because you could go from 3rd to 15th. You could go from really anywhere. I mean, you could lose the draft if it's early enough in the race, and it makes you second guess any decision you make.
Yeah, well, it was a great race from you, able to slide your way up into third. And hopefully, we'll see you in more win spots in the future.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try my best. It's gonna be a great rest of the season. I think we're a little past halfway now, so but I think we're pretty safe to make the chase. So once that chase starts, everything changes. The type of tracks change, and you just can't mess up. You got to put together a whole bunch of top 5s and hope somebody else messes up.
Yeah, well, I'm rooting for you. I'll tell you that much. Don't tell Senior.
Which senior? I mean, it's basically senior in the 3 and Hunter senior in the 4. Anyway, Dalton, thanks for your time. Congratulations. Hey, 1 lap led. Unfortunately, it wasn't the last one. Maybe next time.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all caught it. I led the lap and went to the back, and then immediately the wreck was right beside me, and I was like, oh boy, we don't need to do that again.
Yeah, I was wondering how that went inside the car, considering it was literally over your right door. But Dalton, once again, congrats, and this will be a lot of fun watching you guys go back and forth.
Appreciate it, y'all.
That's Dalton Tucker in the number 3 car. Kyle Tubb goes 6th tonight. He was the next highest finishing driver that was still around for an interview. So Kyle, I know you've waited a little bit and kind of getting a surprise interview here, I'm sure. Boy, I was in your corner. I picked you in fantasy. I picked you not only on my team, but to win this dang thing. You nearly had it. What went wrong there?
I think second place is maybe the worst place to be on these restarts in this car. I watched the replay back a few times. There really wasn't much I could have done more to get the win there. Thankfully, I was able to help push another GC Spider car out up front to get them the win, but I can't help but think what I could have done differently to maybe get the win for myself.
Yeah, and of course we were watching not only the fact that you guys were not necessarily teammates, but certainly allianced, if you will, aligned, I guess, between the 4 and the 32, and of course Noah in there at one point in time in the 99 truck car, one of the two. But you know, it gets down to that last lap, and everybody's pushing, everybody's trying to find a way around. Is there any one spot, you mentioned look back at the replay, is there any one spot in that last lap that you would take back?
I mean, that's hard to say. The only place that it seemed where it was make or break was turn 3. But I mean, there's a chance where if I go low and leave the 4, that the cars behind me just say screw you, and they go up high and leave me out to dry. So, I think sixth is still a good finish. But between this and the 500, it's been the 2 closest races I've had to potentially winning, and it's just it's the season I've had. It's been kind of tough.
And of course, in the scope of the chase, you're, as far as the actual team goes, kind of flying solo here, but have some friends to bounce off of. What's it going to take to keep you above this cut line? I know you had all the points kind of in your hand, even in second, and certainly tasting a bit of first place. Couldn't quite get there. Still a good points haul, I think, overall tonight. 6th place, something to scoff at. So, you know, how do you keep this up, especially going to a wide variety of racetracks? I mean, just Pocono and Indianapolis, the next 2, definitely going to throw you guys for a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, I mean, the run of top 10s or the around top 10s that I've been getting have been nice. As long as I can keep that up, I should be okay. That top 5 has just eluded me all season. I don't think I've got a single one. But we do have Pocono coming up next week. I like the pace that I had last time we were there. Hopefully I can stay out of trouble for that race next week and get something good. After that, I'd have to look at the schedule, see what's up. But the expectations of speed that I had coming into the season and what I've had this season, it's been a real kick in the rear.
There you go, Kyle Tubb with what was nearly a win there at the end here at Daytona, but hopefully we'll talk to you again soon, maybe a few spots higher than where you were tonight. Maybe you get that first top 5 of the season, who knows. Kyle, good to talk to you as always, and I'll be pulling for you.
Thank you, Andrew.
That is the driver of the 32, Kyle Tubb, with, man, what was so nearly a win, Silas. I thought I was finally a prophet. I couldn't pick a single winner right until last week at Montreal. Everybody picked Malone, so I picked Malone too. He won. And I thought maybe, just maybe, I could keep it up, but no. Apparently my curse has restarted. We'll see if it's actually a curse here in a couple of weeks, if I can pick a winner or not. But boy, I really hate it for Kyle Tubb. You mentioned some races coming up. So did Senior. You know, it's a very diverse schedule from here to the chase, beginning at New Hampshire, again, Pocono, Indy, Watkins Glen, Michigan, Bristol, California. There's no rhythm, even to Richmond. There's no rhythm. Honestly, the first rhythm that comes in is Richmond, New Hampshire, and Rockingham. Those are somewhat, I guess, close because they're at least all shorter tracks. But there's no rhythm, and if you look at these point standings coming into tonight, Tubb, not very safe. This race, at least, I think is going to help him because nobody around him had a good night. I think the best of those would have been Arthur ahead of him. The next best, maybe the 8. Yeah, Moats went 19th, and let's see, Height, Galadulus, and Norman were all behind that. So, you know, as far as the chase goes, this is still a big night for him, Silas, but I know that's going to leave him wanting a whole lot more, right? To be so close and yet so far away.
That's just, that's just a driver mentality. You're never satisfied with anything that's not first. It was still a great race, but he wants it.
And of course, looking forward in this series, there's no telling what's going to happen. What I can tell you is we do, in fact, have ourselves a North American Racing League driver of the day, and that is going to be Hunter Sr. Not just winning tonight, making it 3 straight on restrictor plate tracks, and that's almost unheard of. Even back in 05, the only guy that could really do that was Dale Jr., and that was, from, was it 01 to 03 or 02 to 04, whatever it was, and that was only at Talladega. I mean, this is just kind of unheard of plate track success in really any era of this kind of racing in NASCAR. This is really impressive so far from Hunter Sr. We'll see if it can keep up in September or so when we get back to Talladega. Until then, Silas, of course, we're getting ready for a lot more than just Pocono next week here at Pit Stop TV. We can take a look at what's upcoming for us here at the channel. Here's a look at it. Slinger this Thursday. We'll have Legend Cars ahead of the Super Late models. So Whiplash Racing League Legend Cars and then Super Late models from the Sarah National Tour, the Oarsman Ford of Manassas National Tour at Slinger Speedway. That is a tight little quarter-mile racetrack, really high-banked, really crazy to race. And then Sunday, it's actually out of Chicagoland Speedway with the All-American Racing Network bright and early Sunday morning before we get back to Pocono next week for the second of 2 races there this season. A lot of great places that we're going to, a lot of great places to watch as well. Here we are, bottom of the screen, Silas.
Yeah, I love how we've been expanding our reach, right? More people have been getting into it. More people have been seeing it. Especially love Slinger. I am a little bit biased being from Wisconsin and having gone to Slinger quite a fair amount of times, but it's a beautiful track, and I'm excited to watch it, I'll tell you that.
Well, it's been a lot of fun here this evening, and that's certainly big thanks to a lot of great people who make this series possible. Here's a look at them there on the left side of your screen. Harpoon Design, Sparks Builders, Dark Star Garage, of course, the National Oval Racing Association itself, NORA, here on a fine Monday evening. And a big thank you to our partners here at the channel as well, Whiplash SimCams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murders Esports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs. That'll do it for us this evening from Daytona International Speedway, but bumpy. It's been a lot of fun. What a great race. And once again, it's Hunter Sr. in Daytona Victory Lane. Who could have predicted that? Apparently, more than just you, Silas. Jennifer Housden out in the fantasy game also picked that one correct. So congrats to her. She's going to get some bonus points from that. But what a great one. It was a lot of fun. We'll catch you with the next one here at Pit Stop TV.